Deadlocks for the president. Lisa Brady, Fox News. 2 federal judges in New York and Texas are blocking deportations of 5 Venezuelans accused of being members of the Tren de Aragua gang. At issue is the Trump administration's use of a wartime law for deportations. The U.S. Supreme Court ruling earlier this week accused gang members must have a chance to legally fight deportation orders without addressing the larger constitutional questions about use of the Alien Enemies Act. The ACLU is asking the judge in the Texas case to rule on that. House Republicans holding a hearing on sanctuary policies.
Congressman Tom McClintock of California ripping the leaders of sanctuary cities, saying the sanctuary policies, mostly pushed by Democrats, are putting people in danger.
The largest illegal mass migration in recorded history must now be followed by the largest mass repatriation in history.
But Democrats like Pramila Jayapal are pushing back.
Research clearly shows that immigrants commit fewer crimes than Americans.
The Trump administration is pushing to strip federal funds from cities that don't comply with deportation orders.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz on the Hill. The European Union plans new tariffs to retaliate for Trump tariffs.
$23 billion worth of American products will be subject to the new tariffs when they arrive in the European Union. Imports affected include maize, wheat, barley and rice, motorcycles, poultry, clothing and dental floss. The tariffs will be introduced in 3 phases starting Tuesday.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. This is many countries, including some in Europe, also plan to negotiate. China announcing a second round of retaliatory tariffs.
The U.S. exported $143.5 billion worth of goods to China in 2024. The U.S. imported $439 billion worth of goods from China. This is the trade imbalance the president wants to fix.
Fox Business' Edward Lawrence. Right now, the Dow's up 304. America's listening to Fox News.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We will continue to see a couple of scattered showers and thunder showers around this afternoon, but rainfall is limited, mostly cloudy skies and warmer. Windy, 68. Tonight, slow clearing, 47. Thursday, stronger front coming in, a mix of clouds and sunshine with scattered showers and a couple of non-severe thunderstorms, 67. Will cool to 59 and sunshine on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and it might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you. That we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. Is what I would put in my home, is what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate. Paid for by Bayer.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Right now, China's paying a 104% tariff. Think of it, 104%. Now, it sounds ridiculous, but they charged us for many items 100%, 125%. Many countries have. They've ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn to do the ripping. Right.
That's for you, Ryan Wiggins.
I had not heard that.
If I said, now it's our turn to do the ripping on the show, would you just take over for the rest of the amount of time that we had left?
Yeah, well, it would be interactive. I'd ask you what kind of ripping. You know, was this at home or abroad?
What?
Whoa. So, yeah, it's the answer to your question is yes. Generally, I would just sort of go.
So it looks like China and the United States are just going to keep upping each other?
Where does this end?
I don't know, but the stock market's up 389 points right now in the Dow.
Okay, then just keep adding tariffs.
Does it make you panic at all? I know you've been paying attention with some trepidation. I asked, was it, I guess, Monday or maybe it was Friday, if the stock market was making people freak out. You were, if it was making you unsure. I don't remember how I worded it.
Yeah, nervous or
nervous. You said you were
like
nervous.
Yeah, it makes me nervous just because it's volatile. I don't really have a lot to lose, but a lot of people do have a lot to lose. So that does make me nervous. But that doesn't mean that I'm against all the things that are happening now. They're not mutually exclusive. I like seeing this. I don't know if I like the escalation, but you have to do it. And you also had to have predicted that China would do this. So they've factored all this in.
Do you? I mean, you just said they have to do this. You can't. There's no. What's the PG way to say half butt?
I think that you probably just said
half-hearted.
Yeah.
Hearted, yeah.
Half-hearted's better than half butt.
No, I like half butt.
And the other body parts.
Yeah. You just sort of draw a line right down the center.
Split it left and right.
Yeah, split it left and right.
It's a doozy. Welcome back, Brad. You can't half butt this transformative, never really done before process where you're trying to reshape the global economy by putting America first, the market that everybody wants a piece of and a part of. You can't do that half butt. You have to be all in. And Trump has never minced any words about the fact that he was going to do this. But I think that all of that trepidation that existed at the very beginning was everybody on the edge of their seat when they're like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. And then it was amazing to watch X, which is where I follow things the most, explode right when the stock market started going down. They're like, oh, the sky's falling. We said this was going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now it's come back up again. Where will it be next week? We have no idea. I'm not going to sit here and do the antithesis of what the people who were championing their political ideology, watching the stock market go down into the red, and champion my political ideology when it's going back up in the green, because right now it's still 37,000 right now on the Dow, and it was, what, 42 before?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what the peak was? The highest to high, something like that?
Yeah, right around there.
So it's at 38 right now. So, I mean, I keep hearing people say, like, the stock market, you can't live and die by the stock market every day. Like, you're buying that long term, so on. I get it. But politically, it's always everything anybody needs it to be. It's whoever you are, you can come up with something to make some sort of political hay out of it for people who don't really understand as much of what's going on. So then you see a lot of countries coming to the table, wanting to negotiate. You see a lot of countries participating in the new way of America doing business. Now, how they're going to do it, we don't know yet. It's case by case by case by case. I heard President Trump say, this is not off the rack. This is tailor-made. And I thought, well, that's quite an interesting way for Donald Trump to put it. And it's something that I understand. Like, the idea of having something tailor-made for each individual country is the way this man is going about the business of putting America first. And it really feels to me like while all of this is happening, it all centers around one country. It actually all centers around China and what all of this trade is going to do to put China in at least what Donald Trump feels like, and in the vein of America, their rightful place.
104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it and sell it back here. Never has an administration.
400% tariffs? What would that
I
look
want
like?
Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field. This is not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. They brought great literacy, art, and tech to the world. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that puts up and says enough. 400% tariffs tomorrow morning.
Now, I'm going to interrupt Kevin O'Leary here, chairman of O'Leary Ventures, who I still think, isn't he still trying to buy TikTok? Isn't he still trying to participate?
Last I heard, yes.
Yeah, he's still in on it.
And that's still, we could be very close to a deal being made on that as well. What happens with China probably in this tariff negotiation thing actually is probably very connected to TikTok. Because my understanding is that President Xi has to sign off on whatever the deal is made for TikTok. So you can get the businesses together and both sides of that business can say, yeah, that's a great deal. We absolutely want to do it. And Xi can say, no, not happening. And then that makes you wonder how valuable TikTok is to the Chinese government. And if it's that valuable to the Chinese government, fill in the blank. Kevin O'Leary is not talking about China the way everybody else is talking about all of these other countries. The tariff conversation around China is not the same as the tariff conversation with South Korea or with Vietnam or with any of these other countries because of how the Chinese economy works and it's owned by the government, and they're able to do things in their country that other countries aren't able to do because of what China is willing to do and what they can get away with. So here you have a businessman, and it's interesting to see him do CNN because he does a lot of Fox too. Like he's the outnumbered guy in the middle quite often. He does a lot of hits. He almost appears like a Fox News contributor where he's bopping around all the place. But it's good to see him on CNN talking to them too, and it's good to see CNN listening to what Kevin O'Leary wants to say. But this is a guy who's not talking about tariffs in the political sense. I think that Kevin O'Leary is in the politics of money. Whatever makes him as a businessman, as a venture capitalist, money, and whatever is good for business, that's where his focus and attention is. And it's important to understand somebody who is investing. He keeps saying, I do business in China. What would it take to do that business in the United States of America? He knows that the game is not fair. This is what Donald Trump has been saying this whole time, that it's not a fair fight, and it needs to be leveled in a sense where it is balanced. Here's more from O'Leary.
He'll tell you why. She can only stay the supreme leader if people are employed. If we wipe out any business there, because we are still 39% of all consumables on Earth and 25% of the world's GDP, America is the #1 economy on Earth with all the cards. We will not have that forever. It's time to squeeze Chinese heads into the wall now.
Well,
I'm
hold
not
on a
talking about
second,
tariffs
Kevin.
on
Well,
60
I hear you, but hold on. If we're talking about people, the average consumer, not necessarily the head honchos of businesses all across the globe, can they withstand the pressure of that sort of tax on the goods?
It's short-lived. There will be
But what's your timeline compared to, you don't know the average American's timeline, what they can actually survive. There's people right now who can't survive
400% tomorrow morning, cheese on an airplane to Washington to cut a deal.
And how big would that be? That's what O'Leary keeps saying. You got to make the pressure so big, so great that President Xi himself comes here. Remember Xi wanted to come to the inauguration? Do you remember that?
Yeah. That was an odd little footnote.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know.
Trump has said this about tariffs, specifically about President Xi and how imbalanced they are. He has said out loud that he essentially respects China for doing what's best for China. And he's like, hey, if you can get away with it, who is he to say anything against that? But now he's in charge, and you're not going to get away with it anymore. So he, in his own Donald Trump way, says things that respects the gamesmanship, really, of people like President Xi. And that makes the left lose their mind because you're just not supposed to talk to them. You're not supposed to talk to China. You're not supposed to deal with China in a way that is, friendly because they're the bad guy. Same thing with Russia. Same thing with North Korea. We find out today, there's a report out that the Biden administration had private conversations before they made it public to America about the Chinese balloon that flew over our country. They had these discussions and we're saying, when this gets out to the public, if we can't handle this before it gets out to the public, this is going to be really, really bad for our public relationship with China. We are constantly in communication in backdoor channels with China to try to make things work. You remember when, was it General Lloyd Austin, who said at one point, wasn't it Austin General Milley?
Yeah.
Who went to China and was like, we'll give you a heads up if we're gonna bomb you. When Trump was president the first time. And I don't think that there are any plans to bomb China, but you've got General Milley running around the president to say, what kind of relationship do we really have with China? And if we owe them at the end of the year hundreds of billions of dollars in dollars to balance out the trade that we have to get crappier goods made by slaves, that's not rhetoric. They use children to make things. They pay them nothing to go through it. They live in terrible circumstances, and we ship all of that out. The people who are advocating against these tariffs are advocating against bringing those jobs back to Americans, who are advocating for keeping the cost of goods down, which is what we just heard. CNN lady there, I don't know what her name is. Welker?
Abby Phillip.
Thank you. I've never even heard of her. Have I heard of her?
No.
Okay.
I've never heard of her.
What is this going to mean for people here you say the short term, but how long do people have? What? Like it was so good before Donald Trump got into office? It costs were down and everybody was celebrating the cost of goods. The cost of goods are outrageous and the prices have gone up on all of the cheap Chinese crap that we have to consume all of the time. This status quo is not good enough. The people advocating against what Donald Trump is trying to do, I really want to turn it around on them and say, what is it exactly that you want to stay the way it was? And what exactly is it that you're proposing to lower the cost of goods for Americans? Because you had everything for the first 2 years of Biden's presidency. You could have lowered prices then, but you didn't. Inflation was out of control under President Biden. You could have tried to rein that in. You created the Inflation Reduction Act that increased inflation. You could have done something then, but you didn't. You could have cared about egg prices on January 19th, but you didn't. We're not stupid. We know that this is going to be a bumpy ride. I think a lot of people are holding their breath right now. They are looking at their 401ks. Your age really does make a difference in how much you're concerned right now. But people are holding their breath, hoping that they get to the other side. And actually, they're hopeful that this president can do what he says he's going to do. I don't think that they're blindly leading him, knowing with no uncertainty that everything is going to work out puppies, sunshine, and rainbows. But they know that you got to do something. And Trump has a clear plan on what to do. And when I hear businessmen like O'Leary going out there and saying, I'd quadruple the tariffs on China, that matters something to me. That makes a difference to me. He's somebody who knows what he's talking about. And if he tanks this whole thing by saying something like that, if it ends up being bad to do business in China, that hurts O'Leary personally, financially. It's hard. I mean, if on Thursday, wasn't Thursday Liberation Day? April 2nd?
It was last Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
If on Wednesday, you'd say 1 week later, this is what we would be looking at. I wonder how much worry people would have not engaged in between then and now. Would you have less?
No, I think this is the volatility that people were pricing into the market. So,
what do you mean by that?
Well, this is the uncertainty because you didn't know how countries were going to respond. You have apparently 70 plus countries all calling Trump and going, hey, let's work out a deal. And the markets love that. But your biggest adversaries, China, EU, which he's targeting the most, they're really not saying let's cut a deal yet. They're just fighting back. So it's kind of what everybody was expecting that we're sitting here a week later.
Well, and I think, too, that the conversation's still happening, the stock market having not gone into Black Monday territory. I think a week in, if the negotiation is still at peak level, like it's not look like people have just said, I am not participating in this, we're going to rally against America across the globe, that would make people rightfully panic. But I don't think we're there. I think that the left, unfortunately, was hoping for a week into this to look a lot worse than it does right now.
They certainly were not hoping that people would be calling so fast saying, let's make a deal.
Yep. When we come back, Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg is going to join us. He is the assistant to the president and special envoy for Ukraine. Yesterday, we had a conversation with Jim Carafano, and we talked a lot about border security and what the president is doing here in the homeland. Let's talk about Ukraine. Are they still coming to make a deal? Are they still looking to end this war? Is Putin going to come to the table? Well, if there's anyone to talk to about this, it's General Keith Kellogg, and he's going to be with us on the Annie Fry Show to give us an up-close and personal look at what the administration is doing right now to end that war. General Keith Kellogg next.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Air Comfort Service is, of course, helping you with the temperature of your home, but what about the quality of the air in your home? That absolutely matters, especially in the springtime when all that stuff is floating around in the air and it's making your allergies go crazy. You want to have a respite in your own home where you can love the air that you breathe, the clean air, the purified air within your home. Air Comfort Service has a solution for you, and all you need to do is reach out to 314-513-0091 and ask them about a whole home air purifier. 314-513-0091. Those allergy symptoms you suffer from. Get rid of that pet dander, bacteria, viruses. If you have funny odors in your home, that whole home air purifier from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation can help you make sure that you solve that problem. Get rid of it for free. Get a free estimate on that whole home air purifier from Air Comfort Service by calling 314-513-0091 and tell them Annie sent you. 314-513-0091. aircomfortservice.com.
Surprise! A message for qualified investors from Noble Gold Investments. If your portfolio is over $250,000 and you aren't hedged, you're sitting on a ticking time bomb. With markets at all-time highs, history tells us what comes next. A 10% allocation into gold and silver can help diversify. Experienced investors know that in times of economic uncertainty, real assets, not paper promises, offer true security. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy to add institutional-grade gold and silver to your portfolio, so you can hedge like the world's smartest investors. For nearly a decade, Noble Gold has helped thousands of Americans protect their future, turning numbers on a screen into real, tangible assets. And right now, when you make a qualified investment, Noble Gold will add a free 10th-ounce gold coin to your order. Disciplined investors protect what they've built. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com today. NobleGoldInvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
If you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, you need to be a member of the Reign St. Louis West. Mark Cox here. You know, they get free lanes and free firearm rentals, 5% off firearms and suppressors, 10% off accessories, and 15% off classes. The new benefit on Sundays from 10 to noon, the lanes are for members only. And in April, you get 2 free basic cleanings of a modern firearm. Check them out at 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, TheRangeSTL.com.
We haven't forgotten about you, Illinois. Come see us at Ott's Tavern and the Millstop Fish Stand this Friday. It's our final Fish Fry Friday for Lent on The Mark Reardon Show and 97.1 FM Talk. Hope to see you there.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
You know, it's disturbing. It's disturbing with North Korea participating. It's disturbing with the Chinese soldiers having been captured. We're aware of those reports that Ukraine captured 2 Chinese citizens fighting on behalf of Russia in Ukraine. China is a major enabler of Russia in the war in Ukraine. China provides nearly 80% of the dual-use items Russia needs to sustain the war. 80% comes from China. As President Trump has said, continued cooperation between these 2 nuclear powers will only further contribute to global instability and make the United States and other countries less safe, less secure, and less prosperous. I think that's an understatement.
State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce there talking about these Chinese fighters that were found in Ukraine. And we want to go to our expert friend to talk to us about what is developing right now in this conflict, this war between Russia and Ukraine and the Trump administration's efforts to try to put an end to it. So we go to Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, Assistant to the President and Special Presidential Envoy for Ukraine. General Kellogg, thank you for the time today. It's always good to have you here.
Annie, thanks for having me. It's always good to be with you.
Well, thank you. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of set the table for us. We've seen the talks from the Trump administration to Ukraine first went a little bit crazy with Zelensky in the Oval Office, but then they were able to meet and to come to an agreement. And then the administration went to Russia, and it seems as though it didn't end necessarily, but we don't have an accord between the two groups in the conflict. Where is the United States right now as they're trying to achieve peace?
Yeah, we're kind of, hopefully we're getting close to some type of ceasefire as we're going forward. And frankly, the impediments to progress are the Russians right now. It's not the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians got a policy right now. They're calling max cooperation, which I think is probably true. Ever since that debacle in the West Wing in the Oval Office with President Zelensky and President Trump, they've really come around and kind of said this is where we need to go, and they've been very, very cooperative. The Russians look at the world a little bit differently, and that's where we're going to have to figure out exactly what do they want to do. Are they willing to go to a ceasefire? They don't necessarily want to go to a ceasefire right away. We do. What we want to go to is what we call a comprehensive ceasefire. That's air, sea, land, infrastructure, all civilian targets. And then basically, as I was told by Defense Minister Umerov, he's their chief negotiator, this means no shooting, and no shooting means no shooting. I kind of get that one. And that's where they want to be, because President Trump has always said he wants to stop the killing and stop the violence and the carnage. And we've talked about this before. The carnage is unbelievable that you're seeing there. So it's going to be up to them right now. We know where the Ukrainians are at. We're very comfortable where they're at. We know what they want. They're very supportive, and they're willing to go there right now. And what that means to everybody is they've acknowledged the fact that in all probability that does not mean NATO accession in the near term, simply because that's a red line for Russia. But over the long term, we'll have to see where it goes. It also means a ceasefire in place. That means when you look at the land that they've seized out there, it's de facto recognition, but not de jure, which means you have not annexed for the rest of your lives type deal. We're going to wait this one out. And that, by the way, that goes back to a policy we've had over the years called the Wells Doctrine, which we said that actually in 1940 with the Baltics when they were overcome by the Soviet Union. So I think it's a day by day. It's dicey. It's not easy. It's not hard. But this now it's over to the Russians. Where do you want to go? And President Trump's very resolute on this. And I would tell you, Annie, working for President Trump, his instincts are remarkable. He knows what he wants to get to. He understands the issue, and we want to get this thing solved. And because he sees it as a killing field that needs to be stopped in the near term.
We're speaking with the assistant to the president, special presidential envoy for Ukraine, General Kellogg, is with us right now. What is Russia, if Russia could get their demands to make the stop, what are they saying, at least at this juncture, that they want?
Well, I kind of joke about it. Knowing the Russians as I know the Russians, Annie, I wouldn't be surprised if they say, hey, look, we sold you Alaska over 100 years ago. We want it back. That's not going to play. No, thank you very much. But I think in the short term, I think the fact is their red line happens to be NATO expansion. And I think we can work on that. We've seen this before. It takes every country in NATO, takes all 32 of 32 to vote for accession. And I don't think that's in the cards right now. So we say that. But at the same time, we give the Ukrainian security guarantees. I think we would say to them on the land, okay, it's de facto recognition because, they've seized that territory. It's going to be, unless you want to go to continued warfare, you can say in the short term, that's what I've said between de facto and de jure. And we've actually, as I said a minute ago, we actually have a doctrine on that we've had since 1940. And when we say over the long term, this is something that we're not going to agree that you've annexed. And by the way, I have to go back to the 50s with Konrad Adenauer, the first chancellor of Germany. He wanted to unify Germany. And at the time, he knew he wasn't going to get a unified Germany, but he was willing to look at the long game, how this is going to play, and eventually he has a unified Germany. So this is where they want to go. Those are the two big issues. Our big issues, of course, are just stop the shooting. But President Trump brought something else up that I thought is really, it kind of the way President Trump is. He also wants to bring in the humanitarian piece. What he wants is he wants the kids back. There's about 40,000 children that have been taken away in that range. And he and President Zelensky have talked about that. And President Trump, to his credit, said this is going to be a big issue. President Zelensky said some of those kids we're not going to see simply because they're kids of parents who were killed in attacks. So you probably won't see those. But President Trump wants to bring the families back together, and he said that, and it was part of it. And it's kind of an unusual, tactic, but I think he's absolutely right. Kind of shows the way he thinks about things. But I think we're in an interesting period of time on how this is going to play. And when I'm talking about time, I think we'll know from the Russians probably within the next week to 2 weeks at the most. Wow. Do they really want to play, or are they serious about this or not? And that's the question we've got to them. We know the Ukrainians are serious. The Russians have got to show us that they're serious as well.
We're speaking with General Kellogg regarding the war between Russia and Ukraine. We had a conversation yesterday. I had callers call in, and we were giving them the opportunity to grade the president, the job he's doing so far. And got an overwhelming A from our audience. But one thing that a caller did bring up was there was a lot of campaign speak about how quickly the president could end the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And he was talking about being able to talk to both of the leaders and to get a deal done, and to get it done should never have happened in the first place. He would always remind us it never would have happened had he had been the president. Do you think that there has been something like a status change that has caused this to take a little bit of time into his first term here? I mean, we're only a couple months into it, but he did allude that he would be able to get it done very quickly. Is that the timeline that we're still on?
Well, and to kind of a yes or no answer, President Trump said this is very, very hard. He thinks this is harder. He's actually said this publicly. This is going to be harder than getting the Middle East to a solution. I remember when we talked about it, I remember telling President Trump, maybe I should have taken the easier route. That's solving world hunger in 90 days. But I think he's there. He said he would solve it in a month. He never said what month. I'm kidding, of course. But he understands how difficult this is. Yeah. But look, Annie, the fact is that he's actually talking to Putin and Zelensky. It's something Joe Biden didn't do in 3 years of conflict. Never talked to him. Never talked to Putin. And you've got to talk to him. He's at least addressing the issue. And I would tell people, okay, I see what you're saying, but at least he's going after and trying to solve this war that's gone on longer than 3 years. It's the longest war since World War II. The casualties are absolutely stunning. I mean, I call it industrial strength killing. And he's approaching them both. So I would tell people, look what he's done in the first 100 days. We're getting both parties to talk. We've got negotiations going on with both parties. So we're going to get there. And I said, this is really, really, really hard. And I admire him for what he's trying to do and get it done. When I look at the President of the United States, the fact of the matter is when you look at the world problems that are out there, the fact that he's addressing all of them simultaneously. He's not doing them sequentially. He's not going to the Mideast, then Russia, then the border, and then, the economic piece as well. He's attacking them all simultaneously. Mm-hmm. That's hard. But at least he's trying to do it.
Yeah, amen to that. General Kellogg, since you are the special presidential envoy for Ukraine, I'm interested in your comment. This is from a Fox News report yesterday. Federal prosecutors revealed that Ryan Routh, the accused would-be assassin of President Donald Trump, sought to obtain military-grade weapons, including a rocket launcher, from a Ukrainian contact as part of his alleged assassination plot. So it sounds like Ryan Routh was trying to work with, some people are saying Ukraine, but this article says a Ukrainian contact. That's a broad spectrum of how involved the country could be. Do you have any comment on this development that there was some connection there between Ryan Routh and Ukraine?
Yeah, to me, it's a noise level, Annie. I mean, what I mean by that is, this guy's a wacko anyway. I mean, look what he was trying to do. I mean, this is not a very good plan. And, he probably reached out. He actually reached out to a U.S. producer, Barrett. He wanted to get a Barrett 50 caliber, and he actually first tried to get a Barrett, buy it on the open market here in the United States, and that didn't play. So he may have just been tooling around trying to figure out where he's going to get. And he never got it. I think he said two things. He wanted either a Stinger or an RPG. A Stinger is air you can use against an aircraft, or a ground system. And he never got anything from anybody. And I hate to say this, but I do know it. The arms sales are pretty lucrative globally. You can probably buy about anything you want on the open market. It's kind of stunning, but it's just the way it is. And I just think this guy was beyond a loose cannon. And I just like, okay, so well, thank you very much for the next subject. I didn't register on my, very much to me. It wasn't on my bingo card.
All right. Well, we appreciate your comments, and we look forward to watching the president continue to concurrently try to solve the whole world's problems. You are a big part of that, and we're grateful for some of your time here on the Annie Frey Show. General Kellogg, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. We'll have you again soon. Bye-bye. Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, Assistant to the President and Special Presidential Envoy for Ukraine. He says he's a Looney Tune. Oh, no, let me correct that. A wacko.
Mm-hmm.
Ruth told his associate to, quote, send me a RPG or Stinger, and I will see what we can do. Trump is not good for Ukraine, according to documents obtained by Fox News.
It's just amazing that conversation could even happen. I mean, this guy's just some nut. Like, how does that happen?
I mean, wasn't he like he was trying to recruit soldiers, freelance fighters to go fight in Ukraine as well? I mean, he was very big into that. I'm not shocked by the fact that he was trying to find weapons to get the president because he thought the president would stop the war in Ukraine.
The pair discussed Ruth's purchase options, with Ruth inquiring if his associate could, quote, ship it to me? 3 question marks. Before explaining his intent for the military-grade weapons, quote, I need equipment so that Trump cannot get elected, end quote. Ruth went on to say the weapons of war get lost, quote, all the time on the battlefield, and, quote, one missing would not be noticed.
Gosh. Also, what does he think he's going to do with a mass destructive weapon?
I'm glad you asked. Prosecutors say that Ruth also floated the idea of obtaining a rocket or missile launcher, with the suspect sending his associate an image of President Trump's plane and writing, quote, Trump's plane. He gets on and off daily.
He was planning on shooting the plane out of the sky with a rocket launcher?
Maybe not out of the sky. Could be he could do it from the ground.
I guess, yeah, he could shoot it while it's on the ground. Still, just wow. That's a crazy story.
Quote, ship it to me?
It just shows up in a crate on his porch.
I need a Stinger.
Amazon takes a picture of it. Delivered. There you go. It's a rocket launcher, we think. We don't know. It says rocket launcher.
He leaves out the juice boxes and
crackers
for the delivery boy.
Little basket.
Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America next. What is it?
Gen Z News.
Do you even know how to do this?
Well, I figure Ethan could help.
Gen Z is Ethan's age.
Yeah.
The youngins in the workforce right now, but you know how collectively, culturally, we just smacked millennials around for a really long time. Gen Z's turn, and the millennials get to be in the old fart club.
That's what this is all about.
Is it?
It's our turn.
Oh man, I swear I'd never do this.
Well, you don't have to participate.
No,
you
I'll
can defend them.
I will.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Wiggins America next.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
STS Armory online at sts-armory.com. Folks, they don't have RPGs. That's just the truth of the matter. But you could go to them and be like, can I get an RPG? And since they know Illinois law and federal law, they would say no. What else can I help you with? When it comes to STS Armory, they understand the ins and outs. And the biggest thing about STS Armory that I appreciate is their complete and total respect for good, responsible, safe gun ownership and operation. They take it very seriously. They teach classes top to bottom for people who have never held a firearm before to expert level advanced courses for instructors. When you talk to Katie and Jesse Johnson, they know exactly what is real and current. They know what could change, when it might change, when it's not going to change when it comes to firearm ownership and operation in the state of Illinois specifically. They can help you with your FOID card. They can help you with your conceal and carry. Top to bottom, STS Armory is there to guide you through the whole process. They have a brand new shop in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. You can check it out online at sts-armory.com.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at noon.
Hey, there's some big breaking news, so we're going to bump Wiggins America, my segment, to a little bit later and cover this breaking news here in just a second. Stick around. We're going to carry it live. Right now, the YouTube live chat poll is, should the Trump administration spend time and resources uncovering the truth about the Joe Biden presidency? That's the big question of the day. It's a yes or no. Let us know what you think. 12:45, and again, stick around for this breaking news. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Little Big Town is coming to our town July 25th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. And our show wants to send you to their show for free. Just listen to the Annie Fry Show for a chance to win every day this week. Little Big Town at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater July 25th.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We're going to break into coverage here of Wiggins America and the Gen Z news, the latest and greatest in Gen Z trends, and we are going to check in on the stock market and some news from the administration regarding the China reaction, their retaliation of putting more higher tariffs on us. The Trump administration is now reacting to that, and they've made quite a decision. Let's listen in.
Fox News alert. Moving markets right now is a brand new Truth Social out from President Trump. The Dow is surging now up 1,500 points on this. President Trump has just put out a Truth Social saying, based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the U.S. to 125% effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called reps of the United States, including the Department of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the U.S. And here's the big news grabbing the headlines. I've authorized a 90-day pause, capital letters, and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. He finishes with, thank you for your attention on this matter. That's a new Truth Social, John, out from the president moments ago. The market's obviously reacting to that.
Well, that ought to put a lot of pressure on China, I would think, and the EU, which had just authorized punitive tariffs on the United States based on the reciprocal tariffs that the president announced against the EU. We'll see what Canada has to say as well, because they took retaliatory steps. So you've got, there was that list in the New York Times the other day. It was of 20 countries, and of those 20 countries, one group of countries, the EU was thinking about retaliation. China was retaliating. Canada was retaliating. The other 17, and I know that there's a lot more than just 20, but the other 17 were either offering concessions or were entering into negotiations. So the president is clearly reacting to these countries that want to play ball and want to talk about evening the playing field. But for China and Canada, and potentially the EU, and I know the EU hasn't yet pulled the trigger, they've just authorized it, they're going to find themselves in a very difficult place now. All these other countries, and there could be 70 or more of them, are going to have a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs. In the meantime, China's got these 104% tariffs against it. Canada's going to have tariffs against it. And the EU, if it goes ahead and pulls the trigger, will have punitive tariffs against it as well. So I'm really interested to see what the EU does in the hours ahead. It may pull back.
I mean, you can only imagine the conversations that are taking place. Hearing from Bessent this morning, the Treasury Secretary, Jamie Dimon, head of the biggest, American bank, was sitting down on Fox Business. We've heard from the team behind these decisions. They've been out there actively on the airwaves. Edward Lawrence is now with us. He's live at the White House. Wow, Edward, look at this market run away. Holy cow, the Dow's now up 2,200 points. What are you hearing?
We are hearing a lot of confusion. I walked into Lower Press moments ago here at the White House, and the communications staff knew nothing about what was going on, and they had to run up to try and figure out what is going on. The president obviously putting out on True Social, on social media, saying a number of different things. One, there's going to be a 90-day pause he's looking at of tariffs. The second thing is that he's going to 125% on tariffs on all goods coming from China into the United States. And you had talked about that True Social post, but he also says in these posts, the president, that more than 75 countries have now come to the U.S. in order to try and negotiate with the U.S. to lower these trade barriers and this trade tariffs that are in place here. And the president, on the good side, saying that this is having a reaction around the globe to try and get folks to the table here. But again, where the market is reacting, we're still trying to gather information on this. And in fact, folks at the White House didn't have all the information on it. But it appears there might be a 90-day pause the president's looking at, as well as instituting 125% tariffs on Chinese goods coming into the United States as a retaliation for what China did, because China is the only country basically not coming to the U.S. to negotiate.
Well, I hope that you bought your stocks 15 minutes ago because they're worth a lot more than they were at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So how do you think China is going to react? Remember what the president said a few days ago? He said the first country that comes to make a deal is going to get a great deal. The last country that comes to make a deal is not going to get a great deal. And it appears as though that country is China.
So there you have it. The interesting news that has just been released here. And Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, was talking, is going to be talking here in a minute. We're going to get to that as well. But the news that is making the stock market go bananas right now in a positive way, how would you say that it's going right now?
Bananas? Oh, I would say it was going bananas.
Yeah. Hi.
With my upper voice.
Yes. A 90-day tariff pause on countries who have reached out to the United States to negotiate. He just awarded with 3 months' time. Any country that reached out to try to make a deal, you get a pause, and you get a pause, and you get a pause. China, you get it increased to 125% tariffs immediately, effective immediately. And it appears as though, I'm not an expert, that the markets like it.
Oh, gosh, yes. The markets love it. I mean, it's soaring right now. The worst job in the world right now would be to be a Chinese financial advisor. They don't know what to do. And everything they've got, every tool they've got, we've got them completely boxed in. And Trump especially.
So I'm going to play here a little bit of Carolyn Levitt. It was speaking from the front, I guess, the lawn of the White House, along with Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent.
China will now go up to 125% because China imprudently decided to retaliate against the United States. And as I said at the podium yesterday, when you punch at the United States of America, President Trump is going to punch back harder. In that same vein, we have had more than 75 countries from around the world reach out to President Trump and his team here at the White House to negotiate better trade deals for the American worker. We have been overwhelmed with the amount of requests from countries around the world. I'll let the Secretary speak to that. We will continue with the tailor-made negotiations that I spoke about yesterday. In the meantime, there will be a 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs as these negotiations are ongoing, and the tariff level will be brought down to a universal 10% tariff. The Secretary here has been a huge part of the President's trade team, of course, and will continue to lead these negotiations moving forward to look out for the American worker, which is always President Trump's goal. So I'll kick it over to our great Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent.
Good, thank you. And we saw the successful negotiating strategy that President Trump implemented a week ago today. it has brought more than 75 countries forward to negotiate. It took great courage for him to stay the course until this moment. And what we have ended up with here, as I told everyone a week ago, they're in this very spot, do not retaliate and you will be rewarded. So every country in the world who wants to come and negotiate, we are willing to hear you. We're going to go down to a 10% baseline tariff for them, and China will be raised to 125 due to their insistence on escalation.
Secretary, thank you for doing this. Let me ask you 3 quick things, if I could, just for the sake of clarity, because the markets are open and they're wondering. First of all, Mexico and China, are they part of this 10% universal?
China,
Mexico and Canada, are they part of the 10%?
Yes.
Okay. Second, given then that you have the rest of the world essentially calling it, it's not China, is this now just all about China?
Well, it's about bad actors, and what we will see is some of the very early countries are China's neighbors. That we're going to see. I'm seeing Vietnam today. Japan's at the front of the queue. South Korea, India. So we will see. And as I've repeatedly said, and President Trump has been saying it for years, China is the most imbalanced economy in the history of the modern world, and they are the biggest source of the U.S. trade problems. And indeed, they are problems for the rest of the world, because what we've seen is that as the U.S. announced the tariff wall last week, many of those goods have already started flooding into Europe.
So as you see it now, this trade war is China versus the rest of the world.
Well, I'm not calling it a trade war, but I'm saying that China has escalated, and President Trump responded very courageously to that, and we are going to work on a solution with our trading partners.
If I could just, excuse me, Raquel, if I could just add to what the Secretary said. Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China, when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the Oval Office to talk to them. And that's exactly why more than 75 countries have called, because the United States of America is the best place in the world to do business. And as the president has shown great courage, as the secretary has said, in choosing to retaliate against China even higher. Elena, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Treasury Secretary Bassett. Can you explain more of the decision making on what feels like a reversal here? I mean, these went into effect less than 15 hours ago, these tariffs. Why the pause now? What led to that?
No. Again, President Trump created maximum negotiating leverage for himself, and which tariffs went into effect 15 hours ago? The ones that we have lowered went into effect a week ago. They were announced a week ago, and we have just been overwhelmed by the response from mostly our allies who want to come and negotiate in good faith. So we are expecting them to come with their best deal. As I said a week ago today, don't retaliate, hold your ground, let's see what happens. And China, they kept escalating, and now they have 125% tariffs that will be effective immediately.
Mr. Secretary,
go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for doing this. The 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs, is that because of the whiplash that we've been seeing across the financial markets? How much was, what we saw in the stock markets, a part of this decision?
No, it's because because of the large number of inbounds. We've had more than 75 countries contact us, and I imagine after today there will be more. So it is just a processing problem. Each one of these solutions is going to be bespoke. It is going to take some time, and President Trump wants to be personally involved.
So you've been listening to Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, Carolyn Levitt as well here talking about this major news in the market. We're going to continue to get to the bottom of this. We're going to take a quick break. Stay close. Droy Murdoch and Illinois State Representative David Freese in the next hour. Don't go away. Our artisticdecks.net, our new friends at Artistic Decks. I'm so happy to partner with really great local family-owned and operated business folks in business for over 20 years. These are experts. These are well experienced experts who are excited to get you on the list this summer to get that beautiful, affordable deck of your dreams put on your home. Now, when the neighborhood gathers around and they're on your deck and you've got the grill going, people can smell it from all around, and you've got the sun shining and the breeze blowing, and you're just sitting there enjoying your home space that you've now expanded into your backyard with the deck of your dreams. That comes from artisticdecks.net, and they've been doing it for families just like yours for over 20 years. Call them at 314-280-0821. 314-280-0821. 314-280-0821. artisticdecks.net.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Fox News Alert. A pause on tariffs and a big jump for stocks. I'm Lisa Brady. Right now, the Dow is up more than 2,500 points after a social media post from President Trump writing that he's authorizing a pause on some tariffs for 90 days after more than 75 countries contacted the U.S. to negotiate. However, the pause apparently does not apply to China, which earlier announced a second round of retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. The president responding by raising the tariffs on China again.
The Prime Minister of Japan was the first world leader to call President Trump, and that is the first country, that in South Korea, to get, or what looks like, negotiations to move forward with the deal. China, on the other hand, decided not to talk to the president, instead decided to impose these countermeasures, which they continue to increase, which now the president continues to increase. And it appears now the president's focusing, zeroing in on China while giving other countries a little bit of relief.
Fox Business's Edward Lawrence at the White House, where Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just told reporters countries that don't retaliate will be rewarded.
Every country in the world who wants to come and negotiate, we are willing to hear you. We're going to go down to a 10% baseline tariff for them, and China will be raised to 125 due to their insistence on escalation.
The White House had denied earlier reports of a possible pause. Bessent says the president created maximum leverage and that the pause today is not because of the market's reaction to tariffs. Again, the pause is sparking a huge rally. The Dow's up more than 2,600, getting back over 40K. In court, the president's winning and losing today. A federal appeals court clears the way for thousands of probationary federal workers to be fired. But federal judges in Texas and New York are blocking several deportations in the ongoing fight over a wartime law. America is listening to Fox News.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news! The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to VaxAssist.com and schedule today. That's VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We will continue to see a couple of scattered showers and thunder showers around this afternoon, but rainfall is limited. Mostly cloudy skies and warmer. Windy, 68. Tonight, slow clearing, 47. Thursday, stronger front coming in, a mix of clouds and sunshine with scattered showers and a couple of non-severe thunderstorms, 67. Will cool to 59 and sunshine on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing: not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how you could build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour Saturday mornings at 6 here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
I was outside, not outside, I was at some other place, and I'm not going to say where it was yesterday, and I was sitting at a table, and one of those little ants that I've talked about before, they crawled across, this little guy, he crawled across the table, and I killed him. And I thought to myself, I haven't seen any of those ants in my house. I was very grateful for that, but I know that when you see one ant, they're never alone. They're always got some buddies around, and it's the worst thing when they're in your house and you're trying to find the trail of where they're coming from, trying to push back against them. That's where Point Pest Control comes in, specifically for me and for my husband. The fact that we're quarterly service plan members, I think, is what gives me the most peace of mind because I don't have to worry about ants this time of year. I also don't ever worry about spiders anymore. And if you know anything about me, I hate spiders. I hate them probably more than I hate anything in this world. If you want to subscribe to the Point Pest Control quarterly service like I do, reach out to them at this phone number and tell them Annie sent you because you're going to save money on that. 636-798-0023. If you have an ant problem or a termite problem, they can help you with that as well. 636-798-0023. Find them online at pointpestcontrol.com.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth. It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the third leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone. Call them. Say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But, like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him, like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him, right?
That's what Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has to say about how to, handle the likes of Senator Ted Cruz. We see a lot of this rhetoric. I saw yesterday, I was watching Jesse Waters, and he put up a slate on his show. According to Network Contagion Research Institute survey of 1,200 United States adults, 55% of liberals say yes, you can justify murdering Trump. That is hard to fit in the brain. I don't quite understand it. But then you hear people in Congress, like Congresswoman Crockett there, advocating for violence is the only way that you can actually respond to these people, and it just makes you scratch your head. Let's talk to our friend Droy Murdoch about it. Nationally syndicated columnist, Project 21 ambassador, and of course a Fox News contributor as well. Droy, thank you for the time today. It's good to have you here.
Annie, it's great to be with you again.
You know, when you hear Jasmine Crockett, we played a clip yesterday on the show as well. You've probably heard it where she said, you know, she has to go around the country and tell people that we need immigrants, remind people of what immigrants do, and remind people we're a nation of immigrants. And then she says that they're not picking cotton anymore. I mean, what is with the rhetoric coming out of the left? I don't. We tried to talk about it on the air, and I couldn't even talk about it without feeling dirty about what she said.
No doubt. Well, first of all, this is the typical word game these guys play. The left will say, why are you against immigrants? No, we're not against immigrants. This is a nation of immigrants. Immigrants have made this country prosperous, wonderful, beautiful, exceptional. My mother and father are immigrants. I'm sure immigrants from your family came to this country from somewhere else at some point. It's about illegal immigration. It's about people who come to this country without passports, without visas, without permission. That is the objection that people on the right, a lot of people in the middle as well, have about illegal immigration, and yet the left says, "Oh, you're against all immigrants." It's a typical sort of squid egg that they squirt out as they disappear into a cloud of their own deception, and never let them get away with that. It's about illegal immigration. That's the first part. As for the other things, the recording you played there, this is the typical thing we've been seeing from the left, certainly since Donald J. Trump was first elected, and I think even more so now that he's been reelected, and that is violent rhetoric involving beating people up, going beyond rhetoric into actual violence against Tesla facilities, attacking Tesla owners, writing, swastikas and putting in swastikas and writing Nazi, et cetera, on people's cars. And now, as you say, there's this study from the Network Contagion Research Institute, along with Rutgers University. And as you say, they're finding that among people on the left, 55.2% say that it's justifiable to assassinate Donald J. Trump, and among the same people left of center, 48.6% think it's justified to assassinate Elon Musk. So these are well beyond. This is not your father's or grandfather's tax and spend Democrat Party. These people have lapsed into something deeply evil, deeply horrific, and I think the Democrat Party has become a clear and present danger to the United States of America.
Droy Murdoch speaking with us right now. Droy, I'm old enough, and I think you are too, to remember the impeachment of Donald Trump over January 6th, where we watched Democrats over and over and over again play rhetoric from the Republican side, from the Trump side, about what they were going to do. They never played the fight peacefully and protest peacefully and patriotically. That part always got left out.
They never played that.
But in the response, the defense of Trump, I remember, because we were airing this at the time and it was happening to our show, that they played like an 18-minute clip of Democrats, one after the other, talking in incredibly, Maxine Waters level violent rhetoric, telling people to get up in people's faces in public. They're playing the extremes of this issue, getting, real pearl clutchy about language to the point that they actually impeached a president over it. And at the same time, masterclass in how to speak very violently and aggressively. Do you think that politically, with the American voter base, are they getting away with it? Is it doing the trick?
I don't think so, because people know, as you say, that they attacked Trump saying, oh, my God, he said, or January 6th, he said, you should go up and fight. And he said, as you say, peacefully, patriotically. But, he used the word fight, so therefore he wanted to, kill people on Capitol Hill. And the defense team, as you said, put together this long video where you had one Democrat after another, from members of Congress to senators, governors, Hillary Clinton, and all the way up to Joe Biden, using the word fight over and over. I think I did a piece about this. I think it was like 108 different times where they use the word fight. We use the word fighting in politics all the time. I mean, that goes back hundreds of years probably. And yet their argument was, oh, Trump said fight, so he meant to go up and murder people. Telling supporters to go kill people. No such thing. That's nonsense. So the Democrats use the word fight all the time. That's on video. It's amazing to watch. And even beyond that, they now talk about things like, get in people's faces, stand up to them directly. I remember during the George Floyd riots, while the flames were still going on, Maura Healey, who was then the Massachusetts Attorney General, she's now governor of Massachusetts, said something like, I think the comment was something like, America is on fire, but this is how forests grow, or words to that effect. This was not like retrospectively months later in retrospect. This was as the riots were unfolding. So rather than say, look, stay calm, protest peacefully, express yourself, don't create any violence, she's justifying it, saying, well, forest fires are the way that forests grow, so, burn, baby, burn. I mean, it's extraordinary. Again, we see this over and over and over again, and the Democrat Party is now the party of political violence. I think it's turning into a death cult. These people celebrate death. They are now celebrating murder. You saw just the other day this poor young man, Austin Metcalf, in Texas, had, I guess, some sort of a dispute at a high school track meet with a young man named Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony responded to that by taking a knife and sticking it into Mr. Metcalf's heart. He bled to death. He's now dead. 17-year-old dead guy with a twin brother who's now all by himself. Imagine having your identical twin die in your arms. I mean, it's bad enough to lose a son, but somebody who you've known since you were in utero. They've been side by side their entire lives. And you think people would say, my God, this is terrible. This kid needs to be tried for this. He now has 10 different GoFundMe sites raising money for him. You have people saying, well, he's a black guy and it was probably racial, so Mr. Metcalf got what he deserved. He got this quote from this woman who said, you're not going to make me believe or feel any kind of sympathy for Austin Metcalf at all. Unbelievable. I mean, just astonishing. So these people, they're getting to the point where they worship death, and God knows they love abortion too. So this is getting very nasty, very ugly. And I'd really love to see the tax and spend Democrats come back and just talk about taxes and spending. They've now moved on to, transmania and now justification of assassination.
Yeah, you bring up the very tragic situation with Austin Metcalf and his death there, and Carmelo Anthony. He said, I'm not the alleged. That's what I've read from multiple reports. He said, I did it. And he wanted to know if he could plead self-defense and so on and so forth. But, there's a life that was lost. It seems as though there's a very rash reaction from Carmelo Anthony to being told that he wasn't supposed to be sitting under a specific tent at this track meet. But it just takes on this life of its own in the way it's discussed in our American culture right now, because it does become about race. There's a black kid and there's a white kid. Do you have advice for people when they're consuming the story on how to handle and respect this family that's lost their child? Actually, two families probably have lost children, because the Carmelo Anthony is probably going to be in jail for a really long time. What's the healthy way to react to this to try to stop it from happening again?
Well, I mean, people like us should look on this and feel tremendous empathy and sympathy for the families of poor Austin Metcalf who's killed. Carmelo Anthony didn't have to do this. I don't feel any sympathy for him. In fact, I hope he gets the electric chair, frankly. I hope he gets his 2,000 volts, and soon. As for how people handling the situation, it may come out in this trial that Austin Metcalf had said some words to him, or maybe he touched him. I'm not sure what he did. But look, if somebody does that, either you stand back or maybe you throw some words back at him. It wasn't too many years ago somebody touched you, maybe you'd punch him in the mouth. You wouldn't take a knife out, stick it in his heart, and make the guy bleed to death and end up in a casket. That, as you say, seems to be a bit of an overreaction. This guy could have said, best thing to say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was in the wrong tent. Let me go find the correct tent. Maybe the tents correspond to individual schools where various athletes were coming to this track meet. Sorry, I was in the wrong tent. I'll go find the tent that belongs to my school. Have a good day. Good luck. I think that's the way to handle this sort of thing. What you don't do is bring a knife to a track meet. Why would you bring a knife to a track meet, for God's sake, and then stick it in somebody's heart so he bleeds to death? That is really not a really good way to handle this sort of situation.
And it's impossible to not contemplate, if the races were reversed in this situation,
forget about it.
What the country would be, how the country would be reacting right now.
There probably would be riots, and there'd probably be buildings on fire, and there'd be Democrats screaming for hearings on Capitol Hill, and there'd be marches and protests and boycotts and on and on and on. But it was a black guy killing a white guy, so you and I are talking about it, and Fox News brings it up, and apart from that, it's getting no attention.
Man, and definitely prayers for the families. It's just a terrible, terrible thing to witness. Deroy, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate it. Of course, a lot of news on the national scale, the world scale, about tariffs. Do you have any thoughts on Donald Trump's tariff implementation before we let you go?
Well, I just just saw a few minutes ago that I guess he's postponed them for 90 days, except for China, and the Dow's now up 2,500 points. It was down like 100 or 200, now it's up 2,500. So, yeah, this is the seesaw or the roller coaster we're riding. I've said all along that what the president should do is cut taxes first. Once the economy is up and running and thriving, then we possibly can afford to do with the tariffs. And what I think he ought to do is even now he has 90 days to do it. He ought to have a big international conference, bring in America's top 100 trading partners and say, look, here's what we want. We want zero tariffs back and forth. You send us what you want. No tariffs. We send what we want into your markets. No tariffs. Everyone in favor, please say aye. And if they agree to it, it will be the most amazing trade deal since probably the Roman Empire or something like this. And Trump will probably justify an extra spot on Mount Rushmore. If they fight this and they say, no, we don't want that, we want tariffs, then great. Now he's totally on the moral high ground. Then he can say, all right, I'm sticking tariffs, reciprocal tariffs on you, and then, we'll negotiate as it may be. But the most important thing for him to do is cut taxes immediately, make them effective at once, if not retroactive to January 20th or even January 1st. Give a real shot in the arm to the economy, which is wobbling right now. And then once people have more money in their pockets and they're not seeing taxes on their tips, their overtime, and their Social Security benefits, corporations are dealing with lower taxes. They know what the tax rates will be next year, so they can plan with some certainty. We'll be in a much better situation to deal with the tariff situation than we are now, which is the economy still reeling from the after effects of Bidenomics, and then slap tariffs on top of that, I think, is just too much. So hopefully he'll take these 90 days to do that and do this in the right order rather than in the reverse order, which he's done so far.
Well, Droy, you could come back next hour and everything could change. So
it's totally different an hour. Exactly right.
We appreciate you, Droy. Thanks for being with us again today.
All right, Annie. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Droy Murdoch, our friend on Wednesday afternoons. He's our friend every day of the week, but we get to talk to him on Wednesdays. Nationally syndicated columnist, Project 21 ambassador, Fox News contributor. I'm looking right now at Fox News, and they do have the Dow up right now over 7%. So I'm going to take a quick break so I can check the shares that I bought whenever it was like, woo, down. When we come back, there are so many things going on in the world, but you can always count on the Illinois state legislature to get to the very bottom of the things that matter the most, like mascots in high schools in Southern Illinois. That's what the Illinois state legislature is worried about, and they so incredibly virtuously have fought to get rid of the midgets. I think that's actually what they did. That seems pretty disrespectful to the midgets, if you ask me. Well, let's talk to the midget state representative, David Freese, next. Don't go away.
Don't wanna be just like you. All what I'm saying is this is the anthem. Throw all your hands up, yeah.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Gosh, it's never felt more important to be like, call the Retirement Advisory Group, folks. If you are looking to retire anytime soon, even if you have just retired, don't pass up a free conversation with Bob and Tammy Kershaw, with Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group, because when you're watching the market and you're like, oh, it's really exciting, it's up, oh my gosh, this is terrible, it's going down, and you know that you are right there in that window of people who are looking to retire very soon. That's the people right now who are the most nervous about this. You don't have to be if you have the Retirement Advisory Group. 314-993-9494. Call 314-993-9494. Tell them you want to have a conversation, an appointment, and you can just talk to them about what you have, where you are, what you're hoping to do, and then they do the magic trick of explaining to you how to have peace of mind in a worry-free retirement. Sounds lovely to me. I'm not anywhere close, but you might be, so you should call 314-993-9494 or find them online at retirementkey.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
The American Cancer Society St. Louis Golf Classic is taking place on May 5th at the Boone Valley Golf Club, St. Louis's premier charity golf event to raise funds to support the American Cancer Society's mission of ending cancer as we know it for everyone. Visit stlouis.acsgolf.org to learn more.
Noble Gold Investments alert. Gold has surged 46% in less than a year, doubling the gains of the NASDAQ and S&P 500. But this isn't just another rally. Investors are losing confidence in paper gold and demanding physical metal, creating a massive gap between gold owed and gold available. But this isn't about how institutions broke another system. It's about how you can profit from it. Right now, Noble Gold Investments has a limited supply of investment-grade gold bars and coins available. As banks scramble to fulfill their obligations, pushing gold prices higher, you can profit. Smart investors are already moving into physical gold. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy for you to do the same. And right now, when you make a qualified investment, Noble Gold will add a free 10th-ounce gold coin to your order. Don't wait until it's too late. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and turn their panic into your profit. noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Men, are you just not feeling it? Could be your testosterone. U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peter's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. Check out the testimonials at usmensmedicalcenter.com. Patients are excited about feeling great, having energy, improved libido. Plus, they love the staff and the fact that they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Spring's coming. Enjoy it. Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333. usmensmedicalcenter.com.
Experience the exhilarating atmosphere of a Cardinals game. Join the sea of red in the wave around the stadium. Feel the rush of excitement as a home run lights up the sky with fireworks, bringing the whole ballpark to their feet. Nothing beats the thrill of watching the Cards get the W with the final out at the plate. It's more than a game. It's an experience. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Game tickets? Check.
A round of cold beers? Check.
Ballpark hot dogs? Check.
Baseball is back and nothing beats a night out with the guys.
Or ladies.
At a Cardinals game.
From thrilling games and mouth-watering eats to the iconic ballpark energy, Busch Stadium is the ultimate spot for you and your crew to dive into America's favorite pastime.
Make your next night out the best one yet. Join us at Busch Stadium, where every hour is happy.
For tickets, visit Cardinals.com.
St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
I love the way he articulates things together, examples with all his stage members up there at all different levels, which is wonderful to see and inspiring.
That's Orlando on his Expo experience. It's coming again. Join Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited for Expo 2025, May 7th through the 10th in Irving, Texas. Get hands-on training from successful real estate investors and learn proven strategies that work. Find out more and save $100 when you text Expo to 88007, EXPO to 88007.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save now with 2024 pricing and Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $1,700 on a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Dwayne Patterson.
I think by the time we get to summer, I think a lot of this is going to play out. I think you're going to see countries start stacking up like planes coming into O'Hare Airport saying, let's renegotiate this trade thing.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We are grateful for you to join us this afternoon. We've made the breaking news has been that Donald Trump has come out and said that because China has retaliated against the United States, he is elevating immediately the tariffs imposed on China 125%. And everybody else who came to the table and offered some kind of let's negotiate this, for 90 days, he's put a pause on the tariffs that were implemented, and he has it resting at 10%. Did I get that correct? I believe, Ryan?
Yep.
All right. So then the markets were like, Yahoo, and it's up over 7% right now. Over 40,000 points.
It's not up over 40,000 points, but it's over 40 on the Dow right now. So we're going to continue to watch that. We'll continue to update you on that developing news as it happens. I want to get to our guest right now. We are joined by Illinois State Representative David Freese. Welcome back to the show, Representative. It's good to have you here. I can always count on the state of Illinois to get to the bottom of what matters to the people. And apparently the Democrat supermajority in the General Assembly in Illinois was like, get rid of the midgets. And I thought that was that's a really weird take for me, honestly.
Yeah. We have a high school, I think, reading proficiency of a little over 30%. And to correct that problem, we're going to ban the Freeburg mascot, the midgets. It makes perfect sense to me and everybody else in Southern Illinois.
So I think we have a Freeburg midget in the room here with us right now. Brad Range, the producer of the Annie Fry Show, is in fact a very tall Freeburg midget. 5'10"?
I'll go 5'10".
5'10". So what was so important about this particular issue, Representative Freese, that it got the priority of the legislature's time?
Well, they profess that it's demeaning, and we're in essence like picking on a group of disabled individuals. Honestly, I don't understand it. Freeburg's close to my neighborhood. I live in Redbud. I know people that go to Freeburg. They're very proud of their mascot, and there's a history to it. There's a heritage to it. But for whatever reason, this maybe it's virtue signaling. This state representative felt compelled that he had to get rid of the mascot.
So naturally, the state representative is, they know the people of Freeburg and they understand the culture. And the state representative that cares about this has got to be right there, very close to that district, right?
Yes, yeah. And this was so one of the rules in the House is if there's an issue that is not in your district, you let that representative handle and address it. You don't cross boundary lines.
That makes sense.
But obviously that's Kevin Schmidt's area, and I'm pretty sure. But this particular representative is out of Chicago.
Does that make you mad, Ryan?
I'm just past mad. It's of course they're out of Chicago. And we're wanting to legislate what we're doing down here.
What about Centralia? They're the orphans. Where does it end? Where does it stop with the Illinois State Legislature? Let me give you the floor here, Representative Freese. What are the issues, if it were completely up to you, what are the issues that would be consuming the attention of the General Assembly right now? Maybe just prioritized above what kind of high school mascots exist in Freeburg?
Oh, well, maybe taxes for starters. Property tax relief. How about that?
Yes.
How about getting rid of some regulations so we're a little more business friendly? Everybody knows we're depopulating. Everybody don't want to ask that question. Why are we depopulating? It's because we're hostile to business in this state. So everybody leaves to a more friendly atmosphere. So this is what we find ourselves in.
So, Representative Freese, just define your district here for us a little bit so that the listeners can understand from the 115th, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So my district's all of Monroe, Randolph, and Perry County. I go down to Murfreesboro, which is Jackson County. I got a couple little towns in Washington County. That's my district.
So one of the things that the Democrats are focusing on right now in the legislature is the Homeschool Act. It's been a really big deal. We've talked a lot about it here on the Annie Fry Show. We've had, you're the third state representative we've had on the show, one from Quad Cities with Tony McComey, or at least the northwest of the state. We've had Blaine Willauer, who I believe is on the committee for the education conversation that took place. Now we have you. So we've kind of zigzagged across the state, and there's a lot of animosity towards the Homeschool Act. They've tried to amend it. It gets passed through committee with almost 40,000 oppositional witness slips to it that materialize in the matter of less than 24 hours. What is the Homeschool Act at this point in this adventure? What is it? What are they trying to do? And is it going to eventually pass the General Assembly and get signed by J.B. Pritzker?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I don't know. It just actually got through committee this morning. I'm not on the committee, but I was able to listen to the back and forth while I was here in my office. They want to regulate And this is a problem with Illinois. We overregulate everything. Actually, when this first came up, I reached out to my superintendent and I asked him, what about homeschoolers? And he said, Dave, it's amazing. It is one of the least regulated fields within the state of Illinois. And I asked, well, so what do you think? He said, well, leave them alone. They do a good job, generally speaking. But we're going to regulate for 0.1% of a child that may have been abused somewhere along the line. I think that's been the driving force for, it seems like, the sponsor of this bill. I know homeschoolers, they do a really good job from what I've seen. I actually talked to some teachers, and one of the teachers I talked to said they hated when the homeschoolers, because they still do these competitions. And they go, I hate when the homeschoolers show up because they always kick my students' butt. So I thought that was funny. There was some math competition that the kids go to.
Yeah. You were talking about the proficiency of Illinois public school students. It's not good. And, I talk a lot about sending my kids to a Lutheran school. I pay the property taxes where, 80-90% of the property taxes I pay go into the public education system that I do not send my 4 children into. I pay extra for tuition to send them to a Lutheran school. But I still have an interest, of course, in the educated public and making sure my taxpayer dollars are doing what they're supposed to be investing in, which is a properly educated public. And that's not the case in the state of Illinois. What's the legislature doing about that?
Well, they're not doing much. And so I have a little different take on where we're at, in our proficiency level and what's going on. I think a big part of the problem is we have a group of parents that have checked out. You care about education, so you want to make sure that your kids do well. I do as well. If there's something going on with my kids at school, I want to know. And I don't go to the teacher and say, what did you do to my kid? I actually, first thing and foremost, I talk to my children. I said, what did you do?
Yeah.
I want my kids to take responsibility. And then I take responsibility for my kids and my kids' education. I listen to you all the time. You talk about sports. I got both of my kids are athletes, but before they participate in athletic programs, they're going to get the schoolwork done. And if they drop below my expectations and my wife's expectations, they're not playing. But we've got parents who have not prioritized properly. They put things above their kids' education. They've checked out. So I think the parents need to be first and foremost active participants in this process. Yeah. And then the other part of it is I think we have educators, and this comes from the state legislature as well, is we have gotten away from disciplining kids. And I'm not talking corporal punishment. It's just like there has to be some ramification, consequences for not doing your homework, not participating. And we've gotten away from that.
Amen.
Representative Freeze, this is Ryan. You're in the Illinois House. Obviously you're around the people who are trying to push these homeschool things through. Are the Democrats at large, or specifically even the people pushing this bill?
I don't think you can say at large anymore in the state of Illinois.
Well,
go on.
Don't fast shame.
I'm not trying to conflate the issues.
You sizist.
I'm talking about the homeschool one, not the other one. Okay. So when you're talking to, or do you talk to Democrats, because it sounds like they've been unwilling to listen to even just reasonable objections, and I'm just wondering if you've been able to talk to them and present to them, look, there's a lot of people that I represent who you're affecting who are very against this.
Well, I've talked to other Democrats. I haven't talked to the sponsor. The sponsor is mission oriented, and I think she's closed-minded. She's not going to take any constructive criticism of this legislation, but other Democrats, they're opposed to this as well. So you asked if it's going to pass. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to it because there's been some pushback in the committee this morning. They had a black gentleman on. He was a pastor, homeschooler, just gave phenomenal testimony. So I really do think that there are going to be some no votes from the Democrat side on this issue.
We're speaking with Illinois State Representative David Freeze of the 115th District there. Before we let you go, I just think that as a countermeasure, on behalf of Southern Illinois, I've never heard of it, but I don't care. Canton, Illinois their mascots are the Giants, and I think the only thing fair here to do is to take it to the Giants. We could have the midgets play the Giants, and if the midgets win, then they get to stay.
I'm with you. I love it.
I want to bring people together.
If the state forces them to change their name, could they just change one letter and be like the Madgets or something, just like, as a protest?
Yeah, it just seems absolutely outrageous to me. And I'd imagine, Representative Freese, that the people of Freeburg probably don't appreciate very much the Chicagoan coming down and wagging their finger in the face of people who have been around Freeburg, who continue to put their children through this school, and now they have to walk away in shame because they used a word that the Chicagoans didn't like.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see how they actually address this. I think they have the 2029 to keep that mascot. If there's a remodel project within the school, then they're going to have to, get rid of, paint over it, or whatever the case is going to be. So I'm curious to see how they address this, because I know they've been on the, let's say, the firing line on this issue for some time, and they've consistently pushed back. But this particular rep was able to get it through this time. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will. Well, thank you for the attention to the issue. We appreciate you. Illinois State Representative David Freese of Red Bud and the 115th District there. Always good to have you on. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
We'll talk to you again soon. If midgets isn't okay, there's no way the Giants can be okay. That's actually like saying that Giants are better than midgets.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Am I wrong?
That's sizeism.
They should be the Freeburg normies.
Average-sized people.
ASPs. The asps.
The Freeburg asps.
Yeah, that won't go wrong at all.
We're the bad asps.
Or the good asps. Asps.
Come on, you can't play the game if you can't play the game.
No, I can't.
Uncle.
Or there's a lot of adjectives you could put in front of that, couldn't you?
I kind of like asps. Average-sized people. I think we should take suggestions, and I would also like to fight for the midgets, although even suggesting that the midgets would have to be fought for seems as though that's not very nice to say out loud either. Like, maybe they can handle their own business.
I agree. They need to get rid of the Giants. They need to get rid of all names because words could possibly hurt people.
San Francisco? New York?
Gone.
Done.
Yep. They need to ban the song Tiny Dancer.
Why?
Because it's small.
Tiny.
Yeah. The imagery that brings up, who knows where your mind could go.
Yeah, that's not very body positivity.
No, it's not.
Oh, she's got to be tiny.
Right. We're giving away tickets to Little Big Town. We got to ban that.
Little average town. Yeah, this is problematic, Illinois. Look what you've done. I mean, I just thought we were past this crap. I've muddled in my head a poll question, which haven't even mentioned the poll question today yet. A poll question is like, is woke dead? This is woke.
This is it.
If Freeburg decided midgets is not the greatest thing in the world, we probably should move on from midgets. If Freeburg decided it, then they should change it. And we should support them. But Chicago coming down and saying, we don't do that anymore. Are there midgets in Freeburg that are unhappy?
That's a good question. We should have asked David Freese that.
Got to get Kevin Schmidt on the show. It's just so.
I know. There's so much material that you're like, where do I even go?
And it's like all offensive, but not. You have to make fun of everybody. Or eliminate everybody. And now we're aggrandizing normal people, which is the worst thing that you can do.
They need to be this free. If they're forced to change, become the Freeburg STFUs.
Staffoos.
Yeah. And then come up with something else that could stand for and be like, but you know. I think it's sizeism when you make fun of me. In fact, everything that you've ever said about me is now banned.
It's 100% sizeism.
Yeah.
I don't like you because you're short.
That's not even true. The problem is it's a false premise.
You want me to not like you because you're average?
I want you to not like me for all the variety of reasons. I'm very hateable.
Will you make a list?
But not for that reason.
Will you make an approved list of reasons to not like you?
I can do that. Can you make the same list, please?
Oh, Ethan's got the list in his hand. He's been waiting for this moment. Dear diary. No, I give you a ton of reasons not to like me. I'm super unlikable.
Okay.
Ethan, go ahead.
I would like to speak to our comments about Ryan's height.
You've been recognized.
So I saw a tweet this morning that made me think of Ryan. It said, yo, by the way, if you're under 5'7", I have important info for you in the replies.
Ooh, listen up, Ryan.
I'm not.
So I clicked on it, and it said, I saw a hawk outside, so be careful.
That's a good joke. I saw a eagle carrying a deer online the other day. And I thought, man, if this was real life. Because I think it was a real video.
Are we just talking about birds now?
I think you're a little bit pressed.
You have to explain him the joke in the break.
There's no joke. I just
No,
am
that
saying
was
I
a
saw
joke.
a
That's pretty
video
funny. No, his
of
was a joke.
Eagle carrying a deer, and I thought it was cool.
You just changed the subject pretty quickly
I
there
know.
about
What do you guys think about deer?
birds.
Everyone's kind of like,
It's like telephone.
Well,
I mean, fine. If you don't want to talk about deer, let's talk about eagles. America? You guys like patriotism?
The
kill a segment
Patriots.
quicker.
The YouTube live chat poll is, should the Trump administration spend time and resources uncovering the truth about the Joe Biden presidency? Yes or no? I know that I want the truth. Do you want them to be investing the time and resources necessary to get to the bottom of it? That's the YouTube live chat poll for today. We haven't talked about it nearly as much. We are giving tickets to Little Big Town in the 2 o'clock hour.
Bleep town.
Yeah, you'll just have to guess.
Just show up and you're going to hear songs from town.
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah. On the pontoon.
About pontoon boats.
Yes. Pontoon boat sounds fun right now. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AnnieFry. Find the live chat portion of the live broadcast and vote. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Diamond Shop in Clayton, excited to work with you this April, especially if you've been looking for a diamond. It's diamond is the April birthstone. So they have 40% off all in-stock diamond jewelry. They have 30% off all in-stock jewelry throughout the course of April. You can also enjoy VIP perks if you go online to their website at thediamondshop.net. That's thediamondshop.net. Sign up to be a VIP. During the month of April, all VIPs will receive a free travel jewelry case with their purchase of $100 or more. This is a great way to learn more about why people choose the Diamond Shop in Clayton, why they have been so successful since 1910 in the St. Louis area, serving families just like yours. Whether it's something for a birthday or Mother's Day coming up, or it's that diamond that you're going to purchase that's going to change your life, you want to go to the Diamond Shop and put your trust in the hands of the very, very best. The folks at the Diamond Shop are waiting to talk to you. Find them online at thediamondshop.net.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation, so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Call now to win tickets to see Little Big Town July 25th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. I decided in the break, by the way, that Little Big Town is okay because it's little and big and they cancel each other out. Little Big Town is coming to our town July 25th. Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Call now to win free tickets. 314-241-9797. 314-241-9797. The ninth caller will win. And it is 1:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Little Big Town is coming to our town July 25th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. And our show wants to send you to their show for free. Just listen to the Annie Fry Show for a chance to win every day this week. Little Big Town at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater July 25th.
Sun shines, clouds rain, train whistles blow.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Wishes go up and the world goes round. And I love you. It just comes natural.
I can't get enough of the meltdown from the Biden administration. Can't get enough of it.
What are they doing now?
There's just always a detail here and there. And it bothers me, even though we said when the Biden administration was actually happening, how many times did I say people are going to write a book? And the first person to write a book is going to make a lot of money on kicking the door open as to what was really happening. And I want to know it all. I don't know that I'm going to buy these people's books, but I'm going to read every article that's written on it from people who have read those books. But just the absolute ineptitude of Joe Biden, the lack of mental presence, like his faculties were not there. That's not a surprise.
Well, it's a surprise to everybody in the mainstream media. They couldn't believe it.
That's not true anymore. Well, I mean, then, yes, you're right. But like now, they're all like, we did not report on that. And it's like, the heck you didn't.
Gosh, thank God they're on TV. You have a visual timeline record of them not reporting on it.
Where's that Kamala article that I had pulled up here? I've got too many tabs open. Harris launched dark arts operation against opponents for VP spot in 2020, new book claims. So, like, one book is spawning other books about how nasty everything was with the Democrats. You know, the kumbaya come together, folks.
Tolerance.
Fox News reports former Vice President Kamala Harris engaged in a, quote, dark arts operation, end quote. I don't know what that means. To undercut other potential running mates for former President Joe Biden in the 2020 election, according to a new book. The book is called Fight: Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House. Published April 1st by William Morrow and Company, and claims that Harris spread unfavorable information about other possible vice presidential picks for Biden. Quote, in 2020, when she beat out a crowded field to join Biden's ticket, Harris advisors ran a dark arts operation to undermine the competition, circling negative information on her rivals. This is according to journalists Jonathan Allen of NBC News and Amy Parnes of The Hill. Specifically, the book singled out Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. She's doing great. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice. Former Democratic Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams, and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. One advisor said of the effort 4 years earlier, quote, we stabbed Karen Bass a little bit. We stabbed Susan Rice a little bit. We stabbed Stacey Abrams a little bit. We stabbed Gretchen Whitmer. And then it doesn't say a little bit. Okay.
It makes me feel bad for those people.
Well,
Thank God that
yeah,
Stacey Abrams ended up okay.
Girl on girl political warfare. That's not very
That
feminist.
is a lot of girls, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just have a hard time believing that politics could be that dirty, especially from somebody like Kamala Harris.
Especially from women.
I mean, yeah.
Talk about that.
Man, I would.
You know, women. Just go on. Explain.
Women are nasty. When it comes right down to it, the fighting that a man and a man do against each other in the courtyard, usually is just like a bunch of Notre Dame style blows. But women will pull hair. And so now you understand my position.
I don't. I mean, of course they did. This nasty, it's all nasty. I think it's interesting that there are people who are writing a book on this girl-on-girl Democrat political warfare to sell books, but also at the same time, Kamala Harris advisors being like, oh, she was terrible to them.
That's true. Oh, my gosh. We forget how bad the advisors hate. And, like, their staff would just keep quitting.
Lots of turnover.
What is likable about her? She still polls pretty high.
She's number one as far as who would be your choice for candidate in 2028 on Democrats.
If you had two choices, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Well, no, she's actually, among the whole field,
Mm-hmm.
she's number one right now by a landslide.
Bass endorsed Harris, and both Whitmer and Abrams appeared at Harris campaign events in 2024. Additionally, Rice also defended Harris in July after Representative Tim Burchett of, is that how you say it, in Tennessee, described Harris as a, quote, DEI hire. Rice described the comment as, quote, incredibly insulting, end quote, in an interview with CNN. Speaking of Jasmine Crockett, did you hear her defend herself? She was telling a story about why she should get hired at this law firm, and someone's like, why should I hire you? And her response was, because I'm black.
No, I haven't heard that.
Gotta find that sound.
Is that new
Have you
sound?
pulled that sound? Have we had that sound?
I might have.
I mean, that's like a week or two old.
Oh, so it's fairly
It could be
new,
even.
though.
It could be older than
It's
that.
not like something they dug up on her a long time ago.
No, it's just like, I want to say that.
Yikes, man. Yeah, don't do that.
Did you just misgender me?
Yeah, well, I was talking to Brad.
Oh.
Yikes, woman.
Obviously, I should have known. I don't know
Now
why.
you know I was talking to you.
It was just you were looking straight at me, so. Should the Trump administration spend time and resources, which is the key here, uncovering the truth about the Joe Biden presidency, yes or no? Is it an issue of national security to know what was going on during the Biden administration, who was going on during the Biden administration? I'm an emphatic yes on this one.
I'm an unfortunately yes on this one. I would rather them not, but they need to. There's so many things that they need to be focusing on that I would rather them not have to look at this, but they really should, because there was just so much scandal. And really, take politics out of it, take which side, blue, red, out of it. There's just so much evidence that this guy was not running anything that you've got to look in to find out, what was he aware of? What did he actually sign?
Here's the question that I have. This is why I think it deserves time and resources. It's not so much Joe Biden. That guy, clearly done. Who did it?
Yeah.
Who propped it up? Who's still in the system or potentially could go back to be in the system? Who's going to run again? Who actually ran the country for 2, 3, 4 years and did it from behind the scenes? Who knows the secrets of what took place in the Biden administration and has kept them from the American people? Who was complicit? Who participated? They should never, ever, ever be allowed near government authority of any kind again.
And what did the family do? How did they benefit? How did they sell out? You know, what's the deal with the 20 companies that did nothing that you moved money around through? You have to look into that stuff.
Well, and that's even like a separate issue that I agree with. You need to find out, because that stuff preceded his presidency. But I would not be surprised if the people who propped up Joe Biden, like Weekend at Bernie's for 4 years in the White House, might have known a little something about the 20 companies that you're talking about that preceded his presidency. Expose all of it now, please. Go vote in the YouTube poll and tell us what you think. Do you want time and resources spent to uncover the truth? Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
We're here another year, 2025, and time to be planning and scheduling your air conditioning startups to make sure you're getting ready to go this summer and got nice, proper cooling and no worries on if your air conditioner is going to make it through the summer. So give us a call. Early bird gets the worm. This is one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers, and that number is 314-293-2600. Again, if this is a little early for you, save this number in your phone then in case you do need me or you do forget to have your system checked, and it does break down on you this summer. That number, save it, is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
STS-Armory.com in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, a brand new facility for you to go check out. So if you've been to STS Armory, that's where you got your conceal and carry weapon 7 years ago, and you love your weapon, you haven't looked for anything else, might be getting the itch right now to maybe look for a new shotgun. Maybe you want to upgrade your conceal and carry weapon. Maybe you just want to see if you want to add a sight to it or something like that. Maybe you need ammo. STS Armory can help you with all of that, and you need to visit them at their brand new location in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, or online right now at STS-Armory.com. Katie and Jesse are absolutely experts when it comes to fitting you with exactly what you're looking for. If you know when you walk in the door exactly what you're looking for, they can help you. If you walk in and you know what you're trying to do and you don't know the best way to get there, they can help you. They've done that exactly that thing for me, for my family. They can do it for you as well. Learn everything you need to know about STS Armory in Pontoon Beach, Illinois at STS-Armory.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our firm handles hundreds of crash cases involving semi-trucks every year. A crash case involving semis is much different, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can leave lots of money on the table. Many times there is separate insurance for the cab and for the trailer. Sometimes there are actually layers of other insurances and excess insurance that some lawyers may not know about because they don't see that many cases. We see these cases every day. Also, there are federal laws governing the hours a driver may drive in a 24-hour period and logs that are required. A crash case involving a semi-truck is a totally different animal than a simple car crash. We have lawyers who only handle these cases. It's all they do. Rolling the dice with the wrong law firm can be disastrous. Call us on your cell phone at Pound Law, pound 529. It's so easy. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
This is a Fox News alert. A pivot sparks a rally. I'm Lisa Brady. President Trump announces a tariff pause, rewarding countries who want to talk.
We have had more than 75 countries from around the world reach out to President Trump and his team here at the White House to negotiate better trade deals for the American worker.
White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt after the president also announced more punishment for China.
President Trump says in a Truth Social posting, tariffs charged to Chinese imports will now total 125%, an additional increase after China imposed new tariffs on U.S. goods. At the same time, the president says wide-ranging tariffs imposed this week on dozens of other nations will be paused for 90 days, he says, as 75 countries have reached out to negotiate new trading deals and have not retaliated.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The Dow soaring back over 40,000 on the pause. Right now, up more than 2,100 points. The NASDAQ up about 9.9%. Reaction on Capitol Hill.
Fresh out of a meeting with the Trump administration's Deputy Treasury Secretary involving the Republican Study Committee, the largest House Republican caucus in Congress, Chairman August Pfluger of Texas is backing President Trump's move to issue a 90-day pause on all tariffs except for China.
He is negotiating. This pause for many countries around the world, I think, demonstrates that he wants to get a good deal, and he's willing to come to the table as long as people are willing to give us a good deal.
Democrats have criticized and accused the administration of starting a trade war they fear could trigger an economic recession.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz at the Capitol. The U.S. Postal Service just proposing to raise the price of a first-class stamp by a nickel to 78 cents this July, after not hiking prices in January for the first time in 3 years. America is listening to Fox News.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We will continue to see a couple of scattered showers and thunder showers around this afternoon, but rainfall is limited, mostly cloudy skies and warmer. Windy, 68. Tonight, slow clearing, 47. Thursday, stronger front coming in, a mix of clouds and sunshine with scattered showers and a couple of non-severe thunderstorms, 67. Will cool to 59 and sunshine on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Well, Ryan, anytime I get to advertise for Sugardale butt or shank portions, only $1.29 per pound, I think the people want to know.
A couple of those were my nickname in high school.
Get with the Illinois legislature on that one. Ruler Foods right now. Once again, Sugardale butt or Sugardale butt or shank portions, only $1.29 per pound. That's a great deal. Fresh 1 pound strawberries for just $1.99 each at Ruler Foods. You can also save on juicy pineapples for $1.69 each. Great when you're eating breakfast in the morning to have some very delicious, juicy, fresh cut pineapple. Easter dinner for a family of 8. You might expect to pay over $50 for that, of course, but not at Ruler Foods. For less than $40, you're going to get all the traditional favorites: juicy ham, au gratin potatoes, fresh veggies, Hawaiian rolls, plus dessert. That's when you shop at Ruler Foods. Why? Because they always have low prices on the name brands that you love, on the Kroger brands that come at Ruler Foods prices. Save on your Easter dinner that is coming up right now while you get together with the family and enjoy a wonderful meal together that you can afford. Thank you, Ruler Foods, for making that possible. Find the Ruler Foods closest to you, rulerfoods.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is the Post-Dispatch Window Retailer of the Year, J.D. Power Award winner 5 years in a row, and has the nation's best warranty coverage? Renewal by Andersen, that's who. Take advantage of our great April sale. Buy one window, entry door, or patio door and get the next 50% off with 0 payments and 0 interest for 12 months. Check it out at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to newnordicusa.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
We haven't forgotten about you, Illinois. Come see us at Ott's Tavern and the Millstadt Fish Stand this Friday. It's our final Fish Fry Friday for Lent on The Mark Reardon Show and 97.1 FM Talk. Hope to see you there.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Hey, Sugardale butt.
This isn't high school anymore. Now that's HR.
Go get him. Go get him. I say in that, I'm talking to people about
as if it was fine in high school.
It was the 90s.
Hey, we're all having a good time, but now we're at work.
In 90s, you could go to Freeburg and say, go midgets.
Yeah, you could.
The mighty midgets.
Now that's respectful.
Now when I walk around and people are like, what's up, Sugardale butt? I'm like, that's kind of offensive to me, even though it's true.
That's a triggering phrase for me.
Mm-hmm.
Cause some intrusive thoughts.
The other one that you said in that ad that they used to call me was Juicy Pineapple. And I was like, dang.
Real Foods.
Did they just read my resume?
Real Foods is talking to me.
And then why did I put that on my resume?
Mr. Wiggins, any other names that you might go by for your background check? Yes, Sugardale butt.
I'm trying to work here at Boeing.
Juicy.
Let me tell you about a few things they used to call me in high school.
They're like, that'll be enough. That's enough.
Well, you really were going along fine until the end of this interview when you started talking about your nicknames.
It was a close one. We liked you.
Yeah.
Brad said I got done talking about Real Foods. Brad goes, I'm just amazed at how quick he is. I said, I'm amazed at how willing he is. It's quite a juxtaposition of character traits.
What would you bring to the company here? Well, let me tell you a little bit about my sourdough buns.
Sir, are we talking about, that old-fashioned word, groceries? Why is Trump saying that? It's one of his phrases.
What does he say?
He gets in loops. I don't know. Have we
Yeah,
ever
he gets
pulled
in a doom loop
Have we ever
sometimes.
pulled any of that sound before? I don't know. I've never sent any of it. He keeps talking about prices, and then he gets into the tariff thing about how we need to lower prices here, but he'll say something to the effect of, people, they need to fill their pantries, and it's an old-fashioned word, but they want to get groceries. And it's like,
I don't think I've heard him say that.
Groceries isn't old-fashioned. We all say it.
Yeah, it seems like something people say pretty commonly.
Not if you're Trump.
I guess he doesn't buy groceries.
It's the most out of touch with real life that I've ever heard him be.
Yeah.
When he says, I've heard him say it in 3 separate occasions. And he says, that old-fashioned word, groceries. I'm like, no, somebody tell him to stop. Be like, I get groceries, sir.
Yeah, the person who's buying his groceries.
You're a commoner. You say groceries.
This country's gone so bankrupt you can't even afford a driver for your extended limo anymore. Everybody's dealing with this.
Oh, you want to hear Jasmine Crockett? Yeah, but I said in the last segment we were talking about Kamala Harris and how there was a slap fight going back and forth during the VIP sweepstakes. VIP stakes. I don't know. VP stake, not VIP.
Okay.
To be not
very important president, vice.
To be Joe Biden's VP, and Kamala Harris was apparently pretty nasty about it. Someone called Kamala Harris a DEI hire. I bet she probably heard that quite a lot.
Yes.
Implying that a DEI hire, that she was chosen because specifically she was female or she was a person of color. Which, if you went back and listened to Joe Biden, his qualifications for vice president was to be a female person of color.
Yeah, he said he was going to do a DEI hire.
Not like that.
He didn't say the words, but that's what
he said he was going to do. I would think that the DEI hire world is you don't get hired for your qualifications. You get hired because of some sort of identification marker that you have, be it your gender or your race or your skin color or whatever it might be. And, if you're doing that, I guess it kind of sounds like this.
Been gracious. Is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy.
That's a Congresswoman, Jasmine Crockett.
Kind of like to meet Charlie.
I appreciate, too, that in that little anecdote that she was delivering for whatever purpose I don't understand, that when she says that, why should you hire me? And I said, because I'm black, she preceded that detail with saying I had zero experience.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. This kind of thing would make me so mad if you were in any sort of position where people criticized you openly. Like if you are black and you got a good job, you would have to be looking over your shoulder like people are just thinking I'm a DEI hire.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would be terrible. And then you hear people, national prominence, do this. And it could apply to so many things, not just race. It could apply to if you are a legitimately great writer, but your dad was also a famous writer. People would be like, you just got a contract because your dad's famous. And you'd be mad at anybody who would criticize you for that if you were actually a great writer. That kind of stuff is very much real for lots of people. And she is playing right into that stereotype by saying that.
Yeah. Just saying it out loud like that. I would honestly say that if you're going to tell that story, that it really needs to sound more like not I'm black. It needs to sound like, are you working in a community where people were going to recognize me? I understand what these people have experienced. I come from these communities. She doesn't. She comes from, I think, like Ladue or something like that here. She spent some time. Is it MICDS? I don't even know. I don't know the Catholic. Is it MICDS? She's not from the hood. That doesn't matter. She's very accomplished. She's very successful. She's had a very great upbringing, a lot of opportunity afforded to her. Good for her. It's kind of weird that you would say you should hire me because I'm black, because that means a lot of things to a lot of people. If you're boiling everything that means down to the skin color, I just think that the implication there is short-sighted. If I were she, I would think that I would want to put my best foot forward, and it would be my accomplishments. Even if I wasn't experienced, my work ethic, my willingness to learn quickly and on the job, to be coachable, all these types of things.
Also, isn't she saying...
Because I want to say first, I bet he knows she's black. Go on.
Isn't she implying by saying that yes, I don't have any experience, but my skin color offers me a certain privilege? I mean, isn't that implied? She's saying that because of my skin color, I should get a job that I have no experience in.
No, I don't know that that's what that's implying automatically. I think I think that she's probably implying that there is a benefit to having a certain skin color if you, depending on where the representation, I don't know who Charlie was, that was her boss or whatever, but that there was an asset to the organization should they employ a black woman. And I just think that might be true, but it'd be for how good she's going to be at the job. And if I were in that position, I would want the things that I bring to the table that people don't know when they see me. I would want the opportunity to describe that, not like I'm white. Oh, really?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's interesting.
Let's shift gears here real quick, and I'm going to read for you this truth post. Why is this not working? Donald Trump, Howard Lutnick posted this on X. Scott Besson and I sat with the president while he wrote one of the most extraordinary truth posts of his presidency. The world is ready to work with President Trump to fix global trade, and China has chosen the opposite direction. So this is from X, and it's posted right now, and Lutnick shared the screenshot of it from Donald Trump. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charged to China by the United States of America to 125%, effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Departments of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. End scene. Elfine. Does he know what he's doing? I think that Donald Trump is always 12 steps ahead.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing. It's just a matter of how it plays out, because you never really know he's very mobile. He takes in the situation as it is in any given moment, and he reacts to it. And you may not like his reaction, but he's got the bigger goal in mind with any of his immediate reactions. And this one shocked me because I did not see him pulling. What he's done here has completely isolated China.
Yes.
It is amazing to watch this in real time because he is so freaking good at using leverage to get what he wants. And when he's getting what America needs, you just have to cheer for it.
I think sometimes when you look at him, he sees all the possibilities. If I do this, these are the possibilities. And when this happens, I will do this. When this happens, I will do that. When this happens, I will do this. And like you were saying, he's isolated China. And Annie, you read it in there. At one point, he said other countries. He was talking about other countries.
All of a sudden,
yeah,
it's not just about America.
Yeah. And so now he's going to go, and I suspect in those negotiations with those other countries, he's going to put pressure on them to further isolate China. And China's entire economy depends on exporting cheap stuff to people. And if they can stop China from doing that, they're going to collapse.
Just real quick, Ryan, even TMZ right now is covering Kevin O'Leary, and the lower third says Kevin O'Leary to Trump. Hit China hard. 3 exclamation points. Because TMZ is not professional. Just use, you don't even need to use any exclamation points.
Disagree. I think they should use 4.
4, you sound like you like Kevin O'Leary.
400% tariffs on the
Hit him with another one.
I am a lot like Kevin O'Leary.
I know.
Thank
you guys are so bald.
No. No. We're
and tiny.
Savvy. That's what you meant.
Sneaky. Very agile.
You know what? He's isolating China by doing all this. But the other thing that he's also doing is negotiating first with who? The nations that are right next to China. Japan and South Korea is who he said we're talking to first.
South Korea, India.
Yes.
Vietnam.
So, gosh, it's amazing to watch somebody who's willing to take the punches that he knows people are going to throw at him and still do. The thing isn't over. I'm not like, oh, well, we won. We're right in the middle of this. But it's just amazing to watch a negotiator work.
But we didn't win. We are in the process of winning.
We're in the winning position.
This is not losing.
This is what it looks like to be in the driver's seat.
The YouTube poll, should the Trump administration spend time and resources uncovering the truth about the Joe Biden presidency? It's just wild in my mind to think about the fact that Joe Biden was president for 4 years and he was MIA for most of them.
He had dementia before he took office, as Hunter Biden pointed out.
The amount of time that we spend during a 3-hour show every day, and Donald Trump is in front of in front of the same press pool at a different location. It's multiple times in one show. I bet you at this point he's done more press than Joe Biden did in his entire presidency. I bet it's not even close.
I would have to take.
Agree with
I would take the over on that. Yeah.
Man, go vote in the YouTube live chat poll on the break. I need you, Ryan. I'm going to throw some of these out at you. As you know, the Illinois state legislature always in touch with the people, and really the Illinois supermajority Democrats, they care so much about the people of Illinois that they want to get to the bottom of all the problems that are really affecting you and your pocketbook and your property taxes and the level of education we're providing the public. They care about all of it, and they're the supermajority of Democrats are super dedicated to making sure that they care for you. So they take the top issues and they work really hard to resolve them, like what they just did, and the Chicago representative led the charge on this. Downstate, Freeburg, they said, you know what, you need some help down there, little Southern Illinois people. You don't realize this, but you've been bad boys and girls and others.
The people he represents are probably like, thank you, this matters to us.
Yes, this is important. This has been weighing on my heart.
All they think about up in the Chicago suburbs is Freeburg.
Freeburg!
And the high school.
Can you rewrite Freebird as Freeburg? The whole thing.
That sounds like it's pretty tough. It's like maybe 2 letters.
Just tell ChatGPT to rewrite it. A la the Freeburg Midgets, an ode to, who are no longer, because the Illinois state legislature has said, bad Freeburg, bad. And they said, you can't be the Midgets anymore. How do you feel about that? I don't know. You got to ask yourself, of all the states, or all the high schools in all of the states, would Freeburg really be the place that you would go to first? And so on the break, Ryan, I need you're going to report back to me, Cobden High School, Cobden. I need you to give me the mascot for Cobden High School when we come back. And we'll talk about a few other ones. And we'll just go through this list and say, should these high school mascots be able to exist? You see it?
I just see it.
You like it?
I do.
Maybe we'll take some of these and apply it to Freeburg and they can appropriate it. I don't know. If they're okay, right? We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Michael's Flooring Outlet, they're ready to get you covered. And by that, I mean your floors. Go to igotfloored.com and start shopping for the flooring for your home, for your business. They do residential and commercial, and they are experts at it. They are wonderful at everything from the initial consultation. They'll even come to your house and help you with that consultation there. The free estimate you can request at igotfloored.com to start that process. They'll guide you through everything to make sure that you're fully satisfied with the purchase you're going to make, the quality of the flooring you're going to buy, and the value that you are going to invest in it. They care about all of that, and you can go to igotfloored.com right now and read the reviews that they very proudly display right there on their website from Google that can show you so many other people who have experienced what it's like to work with Michael's Flooring Outlet. They carry the top name brands like the Smart Strand Mohawk Silk, like the Revwood Select and Plus line of flooring, all of the different types, the Techwood Select and Plus lines that you are looking and shopping or maybe don't know about yet. They can guide you through that process. They have 3 locations in St. Louis. Go visit them in person or online right now at igotfloored.com.
Some people follow the rules, but where's the fun in that? I'm Soraya, and this is Rule Breakers, the podcast where we celebrate the rebels, the risk takers, and the ones who make their own way. Every week, I sit down with the boldest voices in sports, entertainment, and beyond to talk about breaking barriers, defying expectations, and rewriting the rules. No limits, no apologies, just real talk. Follow and listen to Rule Breakers with Soraya, an Odyssey podcast available now for free on the Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Men, are you just not feeling it? Could be your testosterone. U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peter's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. Check out the testimonials at usmensmedicalcenter.com. Patients are excited about feeling great, having energy, improved libido. Plus, they love the staff and the fact that they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Spring's coming. Enjoy it. Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333. usmensmedicalcenter.com.
If you're a homeowner, it's time to upgrade your windows with Window World. Mark Cox here. I am a satisfied customer. I love the windows they put in my house, and there's a reason they're ranked number 1 in the number of windows sold in this country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They have that lifetime warranty. It covers all the parts, the glass breakage, the labor. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And in over 20 years in business, they have improved the look and the thermal efficiency of over 76,000 customers in the greater St. Louis area. Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. And I think the customer service sets them apart from the rest of their competition. And they have an excellent track record with the Better Business Bureau. They've also raised a lot of money, over $3 million for local and national charities. So be sure and check them out. Call them at 314-993-1800. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. You can also go to windowworld.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is donating a bag of food to Open Door Animal Sanctuary for every AC clean and check performed in April. To schedule your AC check, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Want to listen to 97.1 outside the listening area? There's an app for that. Download the Odyssey app, and one tap will turn the station on. The Odyssey app for 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Is there a... Did They Might Be Giants do something about midgets?
I mean, it would make sense with the name of the band. I don't remember a song or anything. Like, what did you have in mind that they did?
I don't know. I'm having like a flashback to my 7-year-old life.
I just bought the best of the They Might Be Giants about a month ago and listened to it with my kids.
Is there a story about a midget in the Crash Test Dummies song where they talk about the bathroom?
Ooh.
Those are the words, kids.
I'm looking it up.
Once there was this girl who wouldn't go and change with the girls in the change room, and when they finally made her, they found birthmarks all over her body. That's from memory.
That's not it. Right, but that's not about the topic.
I don't know. I feel like there was a part of this story.
So there was a They Might Be Midgets on Nickelodeon that was a spoof of They Might Be Giants.
That may be what you're thinking of. I've never heard of that. But
Is it like a skit in a show?
It's a jingle, yeah.
Well, I'll have to go back and look at that because I don't like I said, I don't really know what I'm remembering. It feels a little repressed, so I'll have to search back into that part of my past. We talked about the Freeburg Midgets, who are supposed to be no longer. Illinois State Representative David Freese was on with us in the 1 o'clock hour and said, I think they have to be compliant by 2029. So they have some time. It's not like today they have to tear down everything midget. But I said, let's think about this. What did I say? The Canton High School. It's like a little maybe southeast or southwest of Peoria. They're the Giants. We can't live in a world where Giants are made to be okay and midgets are not.
Right.
I mean, using their logic, I'm actually serious about it.
The Rockford Nephilim, that's got to go away.
Stop it. No. I told you in the break that you needed to do some Googling, and I'm going to give you a few more here that you can search if you haven't scooped me on any of these yet. Cobden High School. I don't know where Cobden High School is, but these are all supposed to be Illinois high school mascots. And let's just discuss whether or not we think that they're okay. Cobden High School cheers for the...
Apple Knockers. I'm fine with this one. I'm not offended by it at all. Because I don't know about you, but I've done a lot of orcharding. And that's a real
Seems
verb.
like, to me, that's discriminatory to the, melon knockers.
No, because you got to do the same thing. The thing about fruit in general is some of it becomes wood.
What?
So you have to knock on it to see which ones are edible and which ones have become wood. That's where Apple Knockers comes from. A brief history. That's the Cobden High School mascot. That's where that comes from. So this must have been a farming
There's no
community.
way, folks, that I can know. I cannot be held responsible for this man and his lack of decorum.
It's where the phrase knock on wood comes from.
Okay.
From the Apple Knockers. Look it up.
No, I don't have to anymore. It's just so much detail.
you can picture it. Old-timey farmers walking around with a piece of weed hanging out of their mouth, old hat. They're knocking on all that
You know what's
fruit.
worse? You know what's worse than you? What? The people in the chat.
What are they saying?
They're not restricted by the public airwaves.
That's true.
Read Nick's comment.
Ooh, man, some of these are getting a little out
Go
of
ahead
hand.
and read Nick's comment there.
Nick says, Apple Knocker fan club member here. Let's see what's wrong with that.
Just a Cobden High grad. An alum.
Yeah, that's what he must be.
You want to go to Teutopolis High School, find out what they are?
Teutopolis. Is this a Greek high school?
It's Illinois.
How do you spell this?
Teut, Opolis. Do you know where the E is? Top, third one in.
Let's find out.
I think this is where Rodney Davis is from. Isn't he from Teutopolis?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
No, he's not Teutopolis. Is Teutopolis way south?
Teutopolis.
You're thinking of Metropolis.
I'm thinking of Metropolis. I think he's near Teutopolis.
Teutopolis is the home of Superman.
No, Metropolis.
Get your facts right.
They
He
got the
knows
statue
all
at
about
the
the
gas
apple
station.
knockers.
Greek
He can
Superman.
Who do we cheer for?
He's a Euro.
Yeah, good one, Brad.
Teutopolis High School is the home of the wooden shoes. I don't think that's really offensive.
Just stupid.
It just would make them so slow.
How do you know if they're made of wood?
You knock on them. That's where it's where the old
the only
phrase
thing you can go
knock on wood
and
comes
do.
from. They go knock around.
How about the
people's shoes.
Freeport High School mascot? Freeport. You need me to spell that? F-R-E-E. Port.
F-R-E-A. Freeport.
Freeport High School. Also, apparently, the new Berlin High School mascot is the same.
Now, this one I am offended by.
You should be.
Because it is not plural, and I hate that. It's just pretzel. It's like the Stanford Cardinal. I don't like that. It's a bunch of people. You got to pluralize
Cardinal
it.
is different, though. I don't know. Well, I mean, why are you cheering for one pretzel? Is it different? Is it not? Is it a pretzel?
I don't think there's another interpretation of the word pretzel.
Well, if there were, it might make more sense.
The girls, just FYI, lady pretzels. But the
seems
mascot
awful, too.
is just pretzel. I don't like this.
So Cobden High School, they were the
apple knockers.
Okay, now let's just go over to Hoopeston
Hoobastank.
Area High School, Hoopeston. You've got I want this game to happen. Let's play basketball. The Cobden High School Apple Knockers against the Hoopeston Area High School
Corn Jerkers. Look, I'm sure that whenever this was coined in the 1920s,
you can explain this one to us too.
That people were like,
these guys should have a fair.
They had to have known. They weren't like completely oblivious to this being a thing
Once
in the
again,
1920s.
The Hoopeston Area High School, just in case people didn't hear you clearly.
The Hoopeston High School mascot is the Corn Jerkers, the sweet corn capital of the world. At least it's sweet corn. That's good. But you do have to, I'll take their defense here. You do have to get those little stringies off there before you eat it. What else are you going to do? You going to rub it? Or
I
you gonna
don't.
jerk it.
I don't. All right, let's go over to Effingham High School.
Careful.
I think that's the point. Effingham High School mascot.
Careful what you say about the ham. The mascot is the Flaming Hearts.
Hearts on fire.
It's borderline offensive.
Yeah, I'm not sure how yet, but I feel offended a little bit too.
I mean, it seems as though if this is the route that the Illinois State Legislature wants to go down, that were the Freeburg Midgets the worst of these? You leave those corn jerkers alone.
Do you know how many Native American mascots we have that they're just like, that's fine? I guess they're not addressing that.
Don't give them ideas.
I
These are
don't
ones
want
they'll really
to,
go after.
but it's like, where does it end?
Farmington Central High School.
There's a Farmington, Illinois?
Apparently. Farmington Central. This
Oh,
is deep.
Farmington Central. I was going to say, because that's just the Phoenix.
Farmington Central High School.
Farmington Central is the farmer.
I think that the Chicago legislators are going to go hard after that one.
I do too.
They hate them.
Yeah, they hate rural people.
They don't know how they even exist and live in the world today.
Yeah, because they pretty much kicked all the farms out of Schaumburg already. So they got to come downstate.
Of course, I mentioned earlier the Centralia High School orphans, and I've talked about this before, but the girls are known as the Orphan Annies, and I said it was a bucket list item for me to one day acquire some Centralia Orphan Annie merchandise, and you got me that for my birthday one time.
I did.
I love that sweatshirt.
Do you?
Yes.
I thought I got maybe a size that wasn't right or something. I'm glad to hear that.
No, I love that sweatshirt.
Okay,
I
good.
mean, it was seriously something that, because I don't think that's going to last forever. And I
you
wanted
think it'll
it
change?
Yeah, eventually in my lifetime. But I wanted to have a piece of, like, the Orphan Annies. Let's go Orphan Annies, yeah.
Is it just the girls' team as the Orphan Annies?
I don't think the guys are.
The guys'
They're
team
the
is
orphans.
the orphans? Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
All right. What's your favorite of all of these?
I'd probably take the apple knocker first. I don't
you were
know.
going to say corn jerkers, and then you thought of the implications of what you were saying.
I don't want to be a corn jerker. I don't want to be associated with that at all.
Hoopeston's very offended by that.
Yeah, Hoobastank. What are they called again? Hoopeston? Where are they?
It's either Hoopston or Hoopeston. Hoopeston. Hoopestan.
Hoopistan. Yeah, Hoopistan corn jerkers.
Oh, man.
It says that they are famous for the song The Reason.
The reason we are the corn jerkers. You know what we should do? We should put all these weird mascots in a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Like an Olympics, multiple events. Scholar Bowl to chess to football to...
Yeah, but even the events are against each other. So, like, the chess team has to play...
We just mix them up.
The Scholar Bowl in bowling.
It's like a luck of the draw. And then, if you win, you get to keep your mascot.
Yep.
That's the fairest way to do it.
And if you lose, the winning team gets to name your mascot.
And might make you keep the name you already have.
Yep.
Oh, man. When we come back, let's get the results of the poll. And how about a Wiggins America?
Oh, yeah.
Pacific Edition.
That's right.
Gen Z news from only the number one source that you can trust on everything happening Gen Z. That'd be Ryan Wiggins. Somehow. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the home of the bagel loan. While rates have dipped, you need to make the phone call or send the text to Stewie. Don't miss out on this opportunity while mortgage rates have come down. If you've gotten a mortgage in the last 3 years, this is the time to lock in a lower rate for you and save significantly. We had, I think it was Kenny, who said last week when we had Stewie in that he got his rate dropped by a point with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. Of course, the bagel loan, it would cost him nothing to do that because there are no closing costs. Got it dropped by a point, and his monthly payment went down $300. What would you do with $300 extra every month? Well, you should call Stewie and see maybe it's even more for you. 314-324-4440 is the number to call. 314-324-4440. You can text him as well. And Google the bagel loan to find out more information. A reminder that when you refi or you purchase a new home with the bagel loan, you pay $0 in closing costs. 314-324-4440. That's the number to reach Stewie. Reach out to him on his phone. Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Sasanta, Primus, Lucifer, and A Perfect Circle. Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, May 29th. Simple Minds, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, June 5th. Outlaw Music Festival, Willie Nelson and Friends. Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, June 28th. Live and Collective Soul, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, July 17th. And El Monstero, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, August 2nd.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Every year, almost 30,000 babies in America are born with birth injuries. It's every parent's worst nightmare. If your child suffered a birth injury, please call our firm to find out if we can help.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The YouTube live chat poll today, we haven't talked a whole lot about it, but we want you to weigh in on it. We'll give you the results of this poll here in just a couple minutes. Should the Trump administration spend time and resources uncovering the truth about the Joe Biden presidency? Yes or no? That's today's YouTube live chat poll. Let us know what you think. It is 2:42. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
So you just mentioned the poll. Should the Trump administration spend time and resources uncovering the truth about the Joe Biden presidency? Yes or no? If we got a lot of people writing books saying what was happening behind the scenes, that's maybe journalists, people who have been on the inside interested in making a dollar off of their story, which is what people do. That's not new or wrong in my opinion, as long as you're telling the truth. But what about this administration investigating the last administration? Kind of used to be against that, but boy, they didn't take that up with Donald Trump. They charged him with crimes and tried to lock him up in court so that he couldn't become the president of the United States. Do you want to see the Trump administration spend actual tax dollar time and resources to get to the bottom of it? Brad, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I do. I want them to spend time and resources. Now, I don't want them to spend like an imbalanced amount of time and resources. There's bigger fish to fry. But I think there's a lot of important stuff that we need to uncover, from AutoPen to how much was Joe Biden actually doing versus other people in his cabinet and stuff like that. And then how much of that was legal, and is there anything that we can go back and undo? Because, America didn't vote for Joe Biden's cabinet or whoever his handlers were or whoever it was. They voted for Joe Biden to be the presidency, so they want Joe Biden to be the president. Everybody else was unelected. So I want to know if he was actually doing anything and how much they were covering up.
And if you don't know who's calling the shots, then how do you know who benefits from the shots that are called? What do you think, Ryan?
I'm a yes on this, a reluctant yes, because I don't think the justification should be, well, they went after Trump, so Trump can go after him.
Yeah, that's certainly not a justification.
No, it's that there are real possible crimes here. There's stuff that we've been bringing up for 4 years that has never been investigated because the people that would investigate it were in the administration. So obviously, there's some real serious stuff here that has to do with Joe Biden's mental acuity. It has to do with the selling out possibly of the government. And just a lot of other stuff. You follow the money, I think, is the advice. And just see where it goes. And I'm a yes on this.
Katie says yes, but not yet. Give it several months to get other stuff done. Then we need to know who was running the country since it wasn't Biden. Quick Rick says, with all the evidence and unexplained facts, it's important to get to the underlying truth. What I really think about this is that you should absolutely be working on investigations right now, but I wouldn't come to the surface with it until you've gotten some of these major first 100 days things that you've started, finished with successful conclusions, to come around as an effort of transparency to the American people to say this is what happened.
And if the roots of these things intertwine, which we don't know if they do, but if you find out, oh gosh, this person was involved in some really illegal stuff over here using this NGO and it relates to this, don't bust it all out in the public at once. Wait till you can get cast the widest net you can.
I think if you were putting the work and effort into it right now with the right people tasked to do it, you can do a lot of things at the same time if you have the right people involved in doing it. That work should be done right now. And if I were President Trump, and I'm certainly not, I'd be working on all these big wins with the economy, leading the charge, right paced next to parallel with the border. And then I would be leaning on the foreign policy team that I have, including Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, who was on our show at 12:25 today to talk about his responsibility as a special presidential envoy for Ukraine. I'd be focusing all of my efforts on this, knowing that the research was being done in the background, and I would come out with it, say, June of next year, right before the midterms. Anyway.
I would say maybe even August or September. Wiggins.
Wiggins! Start in June and just
Start
keep
in June.
going.
Yeah. Slow drip from
Yes.
June through November. All right, this is Gen Z news. I'm sure this
People
is
have been
what
waiting
you've been
all
waiting for.
day for this.
You're like, what's the deal with Gen Z? This is actually about the way Gen Z is affecting the marketplace. A lot of these stories are. The first one is from the LA Times. I think they sourced this from New Yorker, though. It's why Hollywood is not alarmed enough about Gen Z. A new survey of U.S. consumers suggested that for Gen Z, generally those people born between 1997 and 1998 and 2012, the traditional...
I thought you were saying between 97 and 98. I'm like, that is a specific
between
generation.
1997 and 1998. That would be the tiny little Gen
That was my
Zs.
8th grade year of school.
The traditional storytelling mediums of movies and television shows have lost much of the relevance that they held for previous generations. The key theme is that people keep saying, well, it's everybody's moving to streaming, but the threat is not coming from streaming, according to Gen Z. They say instead it's coming from social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and so on, and the personalities that dominate those platforms is who they are identifying with and spending the most time with. We are kind of caught in the middle of that generation where we do a little of each. But the older you are, the more you prefer the traditional mediums.
It's so tangible. Like if you're watching Home Improvement when you're growing up, you're watching what was a wildly successful sitcom because it was very funny. Tim Allen made it very funny, but because it was a relatable American family that played a lot on that 1990s kind of oaf dad, husband kind of a thing, smart working woman. That was very big in the 90s. It's kind of a feminist way of looking at things, but it was still about a united family unit that was navigating life. And you just watch the same family do the same thing every week. Were they part of TGIF?
I don't think unless they were at the end. I don't think they originally were.
Who was TGIF? It wasn't ABC.
Well,
was
that was TGIF. Was that NBC? I can't
Maybe.
remember.
Because
well, I know.
Home Improvement would have been ABC.
So, Full House and Family Matters were part of TGIF for a long time. That probably was ABC.
I think Dinosaur.
Oh yeah,
was part of that. Was TGIF too?
The puppets,
not the mama.
Not the mama.
But anyway, I think that like the idea of telling you these types of stories, it just feels so slow.
Yeah, it does.
When I go back and I let my kids watch Home Improvement, I love that they'll go back and watch it because they can't believe that the guy from what's the show that he was on? He's on Shifting Gears now. Last Man Standing. My family has probably watched every Last Man Standing episode 6 times. And they love Last Man Standing. Last Man Standing is much faster paced than Home Improvement.
Is it?
Yeah. It's weird to put because it's the same thing. He has 3 daughters instead of 3 sons. He jokes about that in Last Man Standing.
Okay.
Like he'll say things like, "Gosh, all these women. Can you imagine if I had 3 sons around here?" And then he looks at the camera. Like,
really?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
He broke the 4th wall multiple times. But anyway, I just think that it's the way we grew up was so slow, but we didn't have alternative options.
We didn't. Hollywood's got to figure this out because they are going to go extinct fast, like the show Dinosaur, for instance. Do you know how that show ended? They all went extinct.
That was a depressing
That was a
ending.
terrible ending of that show.
Yeah, oh boy.
Did you hear him say, they brought back the dire wolf?
Yes.
Terrible idea. Absolutely how the world ends. We just did that today. But they said they can't do dinosaurs because they're too old.
What?
It's like, hooray.
Give it a couple of years.
The dire wolf. And everyone's like, oh, they're so cute. I'm like, they're going to eat you.
They are cute. I'll give them that.
Now-
The sounds that they make. When they become wolves and they start eating your
They
face.
are wolves. They're not going to become wolves.
Full wolves, and then they start eating your face. Then you're like, uh-oh, maybe I shouldn't have made this. Ouch, that hurts. You say all this out loud. All right. Well, by the way, Hollywood, just the term Hollywood, I was shocked. I went out to
Doesn't mean
Universal.
anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything anymore because I went out to L.A. with my son last fall. It's the first time I'd ever been to L.A., and we just did a couple theme parks like we usually do. And we saw the Hollywood sign and some of that stuff.
Yeah.
The Hollywood, Universal Studios Hollywood, has a full working backlot. That's the way the park started, was around the movie industry that was being made.
That's
And
the
so
way MGM Studios used to be before it became Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Disney.
And they always made a lot of movies in LA. They didn't make as many in Florida, but it was a working studio. It is as far as the eye can see with these huge buildings that are made for sitcoms and anything you could possibly come up with. And it used to be, they said 10 years ago, even 20 years ago especially, you'd drive through there and you would legit see people walking around in costumes and just everything, catering. We drove through there. We saw a total on the entire tour of one person walking in that back lot. And they said there's a total of 2 or 3 shows shooting. That's it in the entire Universal Studios back lot. And they're not shot on set anymore. Anyway.
Just a little interjection here on the stock market. If you bought Tesla today at its lowest low today and you're holding it right now, you made almost $50 on that share.
Wow, on one share?
Yeah, today it's up over 22%.
Next story, Gen Z wants rules for using AI. It's kind of funny. There's a big chart here about how Gen Z feels about AI. It's basically the same as I think we all do, which is that they're anxious about using it, but they also feel like they should be using it because everybody's going to be using it, which is I think what everybody says.
No, it's going to be using you.
You think?
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm gonna be the get off my lawn person probably to the end on AI.
Well, the other thing that this article brings up is that 52% of Gen Zers say that schools should be required to teach students how to use and leverage AI.
I'd be fine with that.
I'm not opposed to teaching them how to use it, but allowing them to use it constantly for, especially writing papers and stuff. You've got to have some critical thinking ability.
Yeah.
And if you're relying entirely on
AI, you're not
going to
be carrying a calculator in your hand all the time.
Well, that's a very good point that AI will be doing some of that stuff, but the people left who are able to actually critically think through these things, you're going to rise to the top because nobody's doing it.
There should be maybe there is in some schools, but there should be a modern concepts class that hires somebody who's constantly trying to be at the front of these things to implement standards of the appropriate way to use AI. I don't know who manages that, probably the Federal Board of Education. Anyway.
Gen Z is spending a lot to get over breakups. They're spending close to $4,000
to get over breakups?
Get over a breakup.
Wow.
Polls that show, how you're spending, what are you doing, show that retail therapy, as in going shopping, is part of it. Going on bounce back dates is part of it. Girls' night outs, and then splurging.
Nights out.
Girls' night out is what it says.
Yeah, that could be.
Okay. Post-breakup vacations, all these things together cost around $4,000 just to...
Who's the oldest Gen Zer right now?
Gen Z,
97?
the oldest would be 1998 or 97.
So 28 years old?
Yeah, I guess if that.
I could see if you were 28 years old and you'd been in a relationship for 10 years with the same person, you might want to go on a vacation. It's hard for me to think of an 18-year-old breaking up with their high school sweetheart before they go to college. Be like, I need to take a trip.
That's all I think about is that.
Go to
person.
Europe and find myself.
Right.
I would. Yeah. Yeah.
Last one, actually, this is pretty cool news, is trend or fad target, or the Gen Z target population of this ad. Well, it's an advertising article.
You good?
Yes. Shows that the growing population of alcohol abstinence is Gen Z's priority. They say that Gen Z is the pioneers of this new fad of alcohol abstinence with 28% of college students.
Can I tell you why I think the case is?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that people use alcohol as a crutch, as something to distract and I think that social media is such a dopamine hit for people that they're looking for that and they get it in other places right now.
That very well could be true.
Ethan, you want to give us the results to today's YouTube live chat poll before we wrap?
With pleasure, 286 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Should Trump admin spend time and resources uncovering the truth about the Joe Biden presidency? Not very close today. An overwhelming 81% say yes, 19% say no.
Are you a yes or a no on this?
For now, I'm a no. I think there's more important things to do right now looking towards the future. If you get a lot of stuff done in the next couple of years...
You can dabble?
Yes.
All right. Well, we appreciate you voting today, watching us on YouTube, listening to us on 97.1 FM Talk, where you're going to keep it because Mark Reardon is next.
One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches in my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple people recommended the Good Feet store to me. I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around this store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches on my feet stopped hurting and the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a Good Feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This could be the #1 tax saving strategy for your retirement savings, and it's hidden inside IRS tax code section 1.408A-4. Discover what it is and how you can make your money go further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education